things to touch on as far as what is moving around back in positive territory, which is good to see for the overall market. This, however, is definitely not positive on the day, now negative actually. That's a 15-minute chart. If you zoom out a little bit, that was the dollar. You get a better idea. Now red and then some. We had an initial move to the upside this morning, and then on that 8:30 employment data that we got this morning, remember, we got those initial jobless claims and continuing claims numbers this morning that were, again, 2 in a row here to the downside, helping the overall market to the upside. But the dollar lower, yields across the board, downside as well. Frank Caberna coming up this afternoon. We'll touch in with him or check in with him on what he thinks about this data now pointing in the right direction. 0.9 here and change for Apple, moving back to the upside all day long, basically. Ugly wick on that chart. We'll fix that and get right back to you. That's the overall market. That's the NASDAQ anyways, 0.12 in positive territory. Ramin, thanks. Coming back in a little bit here, some volume to the downside. It's been back and forth a little bit choppy since we had that initial move through the highs early on this morning. That's how the S&P 500 is shaping up with 2 hours to go. Chips showing a little bit of weakness here. Nvidia red side to the tune of about 1.7%. AMD full percent downside. Apple's green. Google, Microsoft kind of chopping around. Meta in positive territory as well. But you can see a number of the software names. CRM, Oracle, Adobe, all downside. Cisco even downside to the tune of about 0.6%. Market overall in pretty good shape, though, as I mentioned. Let's jump into a couple of things we were talking about this morning. If you're with us in the pre-market, remember, join us every morning at 8:30. We come on, get your set and ready for the open every day. That is ARM on the daily chart. Yeah, it was about the forecast this morning that created this big gap, but you can see it's been a slow and steady move back higher here, guys, pretty much all day for ARM.
Welcome back, everybody. And it's kind of hilarious because every single day this afternoon, I feel like there's been a GME 16 VWAP thing. Literally every single day. But I'm in that one right now. But let's talk about ARM because I had the execution plan for like 1 level and 1 trade, and it actually should have worked twice, but I managed to get it wrong twice. The first time I didn't take it. It was 101. Why do I have 2 lines on my crosshair? I have like 2 lines going on, which is really messing me up. But let's go to the 15-minute chart to give you the idea of why I liked it. Simply put, there is a 15-minute chart. Every single time previously it was at that 100 level, you had these like multiple, like wick, above, fail, wick, above, fail, wick, above, and fail. And would get past 100 into the 101 area. So on the earnings, whether you like it good or bad, there was like 1 bad number, and it was like 1 particular portion of their guidance. And that's all it was down for. But there's the break of 101 upside, comes back around underneath, and it would have been $2, $3, depending on how great your entry is. I don't get it. I actually miss it. I did try for the fill, didn't get it. Second time through, I do get the short, and I put the stop at, I don't know, like probably a little bit too tight. Works down a couple of dollars, but I had been the tight stop out on the way back in. And then that's it. Like the trade didn't set up a 3rd time. Should have had it, probably should have had it twice. But at the end of the day, it's going to end up going to the upside. Notwithstanding that downward move, if you look at it, it's been in a gentle upward trend since you had that, the Huadunk, whatever we want to call it, the, hey, we're going to let you guys know we don't like the guy. But down at 85, this has been solidly upward trending. If it continues that, you could run into that brick wall where things fell apart. Like 120 was ridiculous for a very long time. And if it gets back to that price, I'd suspect there's going to be some offside. Maximum fun would be ARM at 120 the same day that Nvidia reports earnings. That would be the maximum fun. Only positions I'm in right now are AMD off VWAP short, and then, like I said, GameStop in 16 has been all week long.
Guys, we're $3 in the money Amazon, we're $3 in the money Nvidia, and we're starting to go. This Nvidia short, just because we're talking about ARM. I thought that break of 101 was probably a trade. We talked about that, or the break lower of like 95 or something on ARM. Obviously, only one happened. We just went short again on Nvidia, so against the 200 period right there, and against VWAP of 892. We took a dollar clean on half because we didn't take any profit this time when we were dollars in the money this time when it ripped up to the 200 period. So now we'll play short. As the market's trying to bounce back, we actually had a great trade on the number one P&L name on all ends I have today, upside and downside. But right here, buying the NASDAQ has been very, very fruitful here for me today. So, yep, let's go. Thank you so much, Randall. Sean, you're a laser driven. Well, thank you so much. You are laser driven and so on. Keep cranking. Thank you so much. Looks like you have a trading system for consistency. Well, thank you so much to everybody out there. That's great to hear. And, you know, anything like that just makes me feel better. So thank you. And, you know, just keep on getting your own systems and keep cracking that whip. And eventually we shall all, oh yeah, by the way, we have Shopify on there? No, we don't. We waited for Shopify. This was, I mean, we got some nice outs here on Shopify. We were a little shy of getting that 61 flat. We got 61.50 as the bottom, but good trade there, held on to it. So I'm pretty good about this. Still only have 20%. And then new position alert right here, because we're still on the chips. Honestly, we'll throw it back in a second. We have a new position, it's AMD. So we're gonna go short AMD right now. There is the 200 period. There's VWAP. So we're in an area here of consolidation. Let's see if we can get a top break and then fade that down. So it's still down on the day. Looking for AMD to get up a little bit, then fade it back through. So starting position here on AMD, $2 in the money, Nvidia.
We were just wondering what this telephone and data is. TDS in New York popping up here on some buyout talks. So heads up. TDS in New York. The company is literally called Telephone and Data Systems. So anyone wondering? It's apparently being bought, or potentially could be bought. Here's Airbnb. We did get a nice bounce back initially, but fading off, coming off their report, right back to, yeah, early on 2024 levels here for Airbnb.
Yeah, tougher look for them, Brendo. They had a couple of good tailwinds. The Paris Olympic Games showing good demand. They also had the Eclipse, which had about 500,000 different paying guests for that. Revenue beat $2.14 billion, increased 18% year over year. It was really a story of the guide here that sent the stock down.
Anything as far as opportunities today, guys, for Airbnb?
You know, we always say you got to prioritize. Like I was like, yeah, there's a couple of levels I think you could fade. There was obviously the weakness in the consumer. We're talking about all morning long, weakness in the consumer. Then you have the jobs numbers, obviously employment showing a few signs of weakness, which is probably not good for travel, probably not good for retail. So I did think it was worth a fade. I was kind of lukewarm on 153 if it got there, and then 150, but I didn't put the trade on. So it is what it is. You want to play this. You want to play this post earnings, I think, with a little bit of patience, because it's bounced pretty much at the 200 period moving average, or really, really close to it at 142. So if it can do the dance of holding a couple of higher lows, you might get one of those nice relief rally moves, right? You know, we've seen this with earnings when things get gapped down this far. Still not the biggest fan in the short term on some of this retail, or anything related to the consumer and the labor market, because I think travel goes down if you're going to have the jobs market get weak, and that plays all around the world. So, you know, I'm not necessarily bullish on the stock, but it just bounced off the 200 period moving average. You gap down like this and hold higher low a day or two. We've seen Disney do it. We've seen Shopify do it. This has already bounced once. I mean, if it bounces again tomorrow, you look for some longs, I think. But, yeah, that's a tomorrow trade.
All right, I forgot to tell you guys also, I have AMD going shorter on a break. We tried to go long here and it broke 152 and we got out. This was just a small one. Trying to play VWAP, gave it 20 cents and lost on it. So I'm gonna try that again the other way, especially if the futures can't get through the 50 period. Then I feel like if we're testing down here VWAP, which is only now, like we're at 18.2, it's only 20 handles away. This is nothing. If the market actually starts picking up, remember we have daily speaking as we speak right now, and if anything comes through that, then we should see a move back in. Nvidia right now, $3 and going lower. We shorted that off the 200 period, so let's see an Nvidia break right here as well. If we can get that break, then how you do. Yeah, so short, long, in and out. Now we have to wait for this to break. So that's purple is a short. Short on the 200 for Nvidia, looking to get lower, and then we'll see. Hopefully we can crank if that does happen. And then we are kind of like, we're not putting all our eggs in one basket here or anything like that. But this AMD short, we got to take some profit as well. So if we can get into 152, let's take some profit there. All right, so Uber, just quick on this one as well before we go back up to the desk. Yeah, we've talked about this. I like the name, and I feel like we might be missing it because we're getting too greedy, maybe waiting for $60. Bad quarter. We know the stories now with Uber. I always say give it a couple days. We gave Meta a couple days, and the next thing we knew it was up 50 bucks. So I don't think Uber's in a chance to get back to $74 here, but this is still a name that I like down there. I'm not in love with Airbnb. I feel like the more we hear about, oh, this is happening with the Olympics in Paris or this or that, and all this travel and then possible restrictions with Ubers and, of Airbnbs. I think I like Uber. Lyft had a good report. I think I would prefer Uber to Airbnb.
Just before we go back to the desk, Adrian in the chat, rolling over does mean down. If we say, or if anybody says like coming back in, that would mean a downward move as well. So, and you know what? If there's any like trading lingo that you hear us use and it doesn't make any sense, just ask the question. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
we will fall back into old habits, and I know we'll say things like tank and rip that sometimes are really easy to get, but yeah, coming back in, fading usually means shorting into a pop, but rolling over down, coming back in down. Let's get into, wow, DJ, never mind. DJ just keeps
moving around.
It
I'm
just
gonna
keeps
have to put
going
a
higher.
stop on it.
But let's go back to the desk because Robinhood next. It might break it like a little top here, that's all.
Yeah, what a difference a couple of hours makes here for Robinhood. It was downside right out of the gate this morning. We did test that pre or aftermarket high early on, but barely a green candle since here, down $2, basically in a straight line here for Hood.
It's a sad look there. I mean, the earnings report wasn't bad. They beat on the top and bottom line. They increased their revenue, increased their profits. Crypto trading is up. Equities trading is up. Net interest income was high because of the higher rates. The big no, though, is this SEC Wells notice. They do plan on going after Bitcoin for allowing the trading of unregulated securities, namely these cryptocurrencies on their platform. We'll have to wait and see how that all pans out.
Yeah, quite the ugly reversal candle here on the daily chart now as well for Hood, guys, but overall still holding up.
Yeah, Simple AF Trading says put it on the chain wax. I did not put Robinhood on the chain wax. It got me on that.
I'm trying to put Nvidia on that wax.
You know that reference, right?
Yes.
I know you do. Shreef's like, what the hell is going on? He has no idea. I put that stock on the chain wax. Should have just left it.
Isn't that
It's Key and Peele.
Key and Peele. I was gonna say I know it's Key and Peele, but I wasn't sure like the exact. Wasn't there multiple skits, or was it just one?
No, it's just the one.
Just
skit.
the one skit. Okay.
But like, obviously, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not
still
gonna
like
say the real.
in living color kind of guy. Homie the Clown, Fire Marshal Bill. Oh man,
Don't
but I like
even-
Key and Peele because. Oh, I see we have D Nice in the chat.
Homie the Clown.
Yeah.
Old school.
Damon Wayans.
Homie, don't play that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
If you ever wonder, like all of that stuff, like even like Chappelle's show.
Yeah, I think they all
Like they all, like everything comes from
Tommy
Like
Davidson.
In Living Color was the answer to let's go a little bit more raw because SNL lost their way after the 80s. Like that was essentially In Living Color. Robinhood. So we often talk about this. The only good thing for Robinhood for me today was at least I tried to stay disciplined with it. You know, I'm looking for a dip buy. I took two, and the only trade that worked was actually the initial breakout. So I mean, I had the breakout. It didn't really do much. Like that's like 15, 16 into like the 30s. So like it started out like that was gonna be fine. But then when it couldn't hold, I'm back in long off this level here, the 1860. Stops out underneath support. So okay, fine, like we took a couple shots there, stopped it out. Waited for the next level down. That was the infamous 18 level, and there's a reason. The reason it's infamous is because of Palantir. So I took this in Robinhood. I'll go to the 3-minute. It made a nice little bounce, but I like the 18 bounce on Palantir on Robinhood more than Palantir. And it was a direct decision. I actually said in the moment, I'm taking one or the other. And this is what happened in Palantir at that moment. Clearly, I ended up going into the wrong stock. I talked about that in the lesson of the day. Should have taken the one that just simply worked yesterday. But I made the wrong call, is what it is. Palantir.
Here goes AMD finally.
Not going to be in it. Yeah, AMD looks like it's going to break that 152. It's the only short I'm in. But Palantir could retest that 21 this afternoon. So if it gets back down there again, a couple of nice bounces 2 days in a row. If it can do it a third time, we could see it this afternoon.
I don't want to be wrong with AMD, but I am covering some here. We're making some money back. The thing is that Nvidia, that's $3. Look at this shelf. This is one of those bonehead plays of the day again, brought to you by me, because like this has shown us 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can even zoom back over here. Look, there's more. There's nether levels, like all basically from 1030. This is that shelf. Normally I cover here. Let's wait to see if we can get going. The important thing to note about today's show is that it is brought to you by Blue Chew. Guys, remember those good old days when you were always ready to go? Well, those days have to be over. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in convenient chewable tablets. And the best part is, it's at a fraction of the cost. Sign up at Blue Chew, that's BLUECHEW.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and you will receive your prescription not only discreetly delivered to your door, but within days. No awkward doctor visits, no waiting in line at a pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and shipped directly to you. And do we have a deal for you? Try Blue Chew free with promo code TraderTV at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. Visit bluechew.com and use promo code TraderTV today. Brendo?
Here, it was downside right out of the gate this morning in a big way. We were wondering if 30% was maybe a little bit too much. Hasn't done much since the open this morning, but still a bit of a slow grind. Back above $30 and holding here for Roblox.
As you mentioned, Brendo, there was a lot of good data points with this one. Usage was up, a lot of good data points. I'm not going to go over them now, but really to keep what really pushed this really down was their guide with respect to billables. So that was down decisively below what the market wanted, and you saw it was dropped about 26%.
Any thoughts, guys, for RBLX above 30?
Yeah, I didn't have. Should have just taken it in the free market. And you know the thing about we always talk about this SSR bounce, short sell restricted, and then the stock goes up or bounces off around that level, or it's easier for it to go up because you can't short sell without an uptick. You can't hit the bid without the last tick being green, which does mean sometimes it's easier for the stock to go up, and relief rallies are great if a stock is short sell restricted. Now, the issue with that is the stock doesn't actually get SSR until the market opens up and it's down 10%. So when it was sitting there at 27, and we're like, man, 25 is that monster level in the daily, it's bouncing off that, there's buyers at 27, didn't take it. If you come to the chart for a second, Ram, it's just, like this is like right when we came on air and we're typing the chat, it's like, yeah, the 27 looks really, really good. Let's get down there, 27, go long. By the time we got to the open, the stock was at $29.50. And at that point, like the only trade you could have had was, I think, to break 30. I think you mentioned, like that's it. Like it's not like there was another trade. It never dipped into 27. After that, it was a VWAP trade off of 29.80, and it's been a VWAP trade ever since. You know, sometimes we talk about like wet your beak. It could have been an option to just get in with smaller size, like very, very early if you wanted a piece of this, because the buyers came right into Roblox. And you know, I don't even see a trade this afternoon. Maybe it gets into VWAP again. You can go long off VWAP. So far removed from that support level, you can basically throw that level out the window. The odds of us retracing to it are slim to none, essentially, and bordering on none, I'd say.
My wife's asking me what kind of shirts I like. All right, so 180, I'm just like, you just buy me whatever. Here comes, again, we're still on that same tip everywhere, man, looking for different things. But yeah, Roblox, good level there today. I'm surprised at this move down. We sort of talked about some of those numbers, but again, we indicated that $27 level. We talked about a break of 30. I talk all the time, and it's the same stuff. I just have to start actually looking at plays that involve the strategy, and that is a pull back to VWAP. When there's a gap, play off VWAP. So it's just that you had to have thought long today, because the shorts, I think you would have lost here. I mean, you could have, unless you just picked 31.50 both times, which was great. It would have been hard to pick it there. You definitely could have had it there all the way back. That's Okay, daily speaking as we speak. So we'll hear if the market's moving right now with Fed daily on board. But 31.50, a great short. I still would like to see this back to VWAP. So let's see what happens with Roblox back to $30. But right now, Fed daily speaking, we know that at 2 o'clock. Just some stuff hitting the wire. I have my earpiece back in, so that's nice. And right now, under the 50 period and trying to go a little bit lower here is Roblox. So, or sorry, is the market. I'm still short Nvidia, $2. Shopify long, TQQ. We got a piece out right there, but still in this and getting lighter. Trying to get more short until we cleanly break the 50 period.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on some of those comments as well from Mary Daly. Nothing terribly exciting or earth-shattering. 6.5% here, meanwhile, for AMC. It was above 3. It was below 3. And guess what? Now it's back at 3.
Oh, boy.
It hasn't really done much today after that earnings move.
Yeah, a bit of a tougher look for them. I mean, they did better on revenue than the street was expecting. They did better on profitability. But it really comes down to the Hollywood strike of 2023 and the lack of movies that were made during that time that are not going to be launched spring and summer of this year. So that leaves them with a bit of an inventory issue, Brendo, so selling off.
So there's some stuff going on with in cannabis right now. CGC made another break of the high of the day. I am now on the bid in front of 9, like a 980 level I like, because it's broken 10 again, and it looks like it's going to make a run. AMC, I'm in GME. I don't think I'll trade this one anymore. Greed is not good when you're trading. And I was greedy, not just once. I was actually greedy twice on the stock, where I was like, yeah, I'm just going to short the 3 break with a tight stop on. My stop was literally at 303. So I had it right under $3 with a 303 stop, which you'd think, like, how could you lose money if you got 91 and 92, and your stop was that tight to 3 even? Well, that's because I was holding the majority of the position for more than just that. So you could have had like 2 or 3 to 1 on the breakdown trade, which I didn't do. And then I got into essentially the same thing again and kind of did the same thing. I took a bunch of it out, but I was still holding on to the bulk for a push down to 290, even reloaded, and then just got out. It's like, what are you doing? Like, if it's going to be a scalp trade, just treat it like a scalp trade. Risk like 1 or 2 cents and then make 5 or 6. That was not my approach. I was like, at some point, it is going to give me 15, 20 pennies. So that's not the way to trade it when it's trading that, like those type of moves. If you get like a top like this, go ahead, make 15, 20 cents. But if you're just trading it off 3 to get 98, 99 and get out at 1s, then you want to make sure that you're actually getting the bulk out. And at no point was I wasn't even getting half out the second time when it went in the money. So that's a mistake. This is the only opportunity to talk about GameStop because it's like somehow kind of adjacent to AMC, although I would suggest that it's been very, very different the last couple of days. So long story short, GameStop at 16 has been a short sometimes in the morning and then a breakout in the afternoon. Breakout, dip, fell back in, tried to hold 16. So I basically just traded twice the 16 level. I was short when it failed, and then I reversed into the long. It's now broken back underneath. The best trade was actually the breakout long, but GME has been one of those, if it's underneath that 16 level, you generally have a bit of a trend. If it's trending over, then I want to be a buyer of GameStop. So when it's at that price, let it settle down, pick a direction, and then after that, go for it. I see AMD's got right back in. It cannot print through 152 though.
No, it hasn't even come close to that, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm sitting at 06 now, trying to get it filled. We're short at 26. We should have probably reloaded it. I'm way too busy.
It just filled 6.
Okay, good. I'm way too busy. I got it. I'm way too busy looking also. I mean, both trades are the same. They're in the same spot, but Nvidia right now is $3. We're looking for this to break right now on Nvidia. So here we go. We said the futures could possibly retrace into VWAP. That looks like what's happening right now, so we'll go nicely done for us on that one. But again, who knows how far we're going to go down. Still waiting to get some more out here. See, like AMD, like what's up with that? Hopefully we break even lower on this one, but let's get a break through 152 and then go a little short here on AMD. And then hopefully the market doesn't do what it's doing right now, bouncing right back. This Nvidia is going to haunt me. So I just want to tell you guys, like I'm trying to take a risk here that this breaks. And if it does, then I feel like 885 for sure. And then if the market goes, then I don't know where this name's going to land. So that's what we're doing. And then we're also kind of doubling down on AMD with with AMD on the chip space, trying to go short here as well. But I do have a bid out right now at 07 because we're not, there we go, because we're not breaking. We still have the rest of this out at 03. Then if we break 52, then we go ham to the downside. So that's what I'm trying to get going here right now with AMD. So good luck to all y'all. And I did not trade AMC today. And I knew I didn't think I would when we came in the pre-market. I talked about that. The fact that it had like a 7 or 8 cent range in the pre-market on earnings, this to me was not exciting enough. And of course, Nvidia is holding that level. So good thing we got out of some AMD. We'll still try to ride with that Nvidia.
Oh, that TDS is still going. Just one new idea alert here. Everyone's probably, if you were watching the midday show, I'm pretty sure you saw Upstart at some point. So it just made the break of this 26 level in the other direction. So I was kind of waiting for it to crest. It's like, okay, like don't fight, don't fight, don't fight. But if it fails underneath 26, look for retracement. Even a small retracement can get you back to 25.40. So now that it's under 26, I want to look for the fade back in. Wait a minute, do we have to pay for locates on Upstart? No, really? Okay.
I
might
did
not
not.
have. Yeah, we don't have free locates. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pay for some locates. They'll be like 1/8 of 1 cent like they always are, but I'm looking short 26 to the local high on Upstart.
Well, no one ever said it was a smart idea to be trading Nvidia and stuff like that when the Fed is speaking, a member of the Fed. All right, so we just got reloaded up a little bit. This is truly a reload, so we can't hit this. As we'll get some more AMD, we'll try to put on the exact, I am on, not trying to. I did put on the exact same amount. So let's see what winds up happening right now with AMD. And I hope it's a good thing that winds up happening. So a nice little downside push back into the bid. Take something out if we can at 20, just because we just got some more 27s there. And then we'll bring it back into the O's. And we got out. I'm more just like, we sat there and said, like, we should probably get out of this. Unfortunately, though, that was big move right there. We just made back, so we hadn't even been here for a half hour, and then boom, 2 candles, and we're right back. So maybe we are starting to get a little long here in the market. But again, if you look at the range today, ever since that open, I mean, we had a monster move down, we got it all back, and now we are pretty much where we started. I mean, we had jobless claims a little hotter than expected, so thinking that could affect, you know, some of what we're looking at. But it looks like for now, the market wants to stay above VWAP. So we're not going to be long for too long, or not going to be short for too long, especially if we can't get under VWAP. So we'll sit here, see if our stops execute. We're looking at a VWAP stop up here of 892.50 or so for Nvidia, and then you know, taking some more up and around 891. So I'm going to stay the course until something, there we go, we got AMD to the downside. Stay the course until something really breaks.
Yeah, speaking of stay the course, I don't know if we mentioned when we do the rundown in the afternoon, you know, it's a lot of the earnings plays and stuff that was in play this morning. There wasn't really anything on Apple this morning to go over, right? There was no specific catalyst for them, but if you're watching again during the midday, there was clearly that news with them and their own chip, AI Cloud, and that was right around here. I was actually, it is what it is. I was kind of already in it and just got stopped out. Then I jumped right back in for the long. Didn't hold it to the top, but 184, where this entire thing started, and this is the candle, which is very real right in here. 184 is where it started. It just bounced off the 184. If there's a long I like, I think it's going to be 184, or long in front of 184 on Apple. So I'm just going to get some bids in the teens there. And I know Manuel Palma says that Baba's at VWAP.
Oh, no.
Yeah, see, so look, we like VWAP trades. And like, don't get me wrong, it's one of my favorite things to sort of like anchor off of in the middle of the day or the afternoon if you want to play a trend. If I was already looking long in a stock and it's bouncing off VWAP and a trend up, then I'll look for that as like an entry point. Like, I always like it. The only issue, and Baba presents itself this way, is remember Chinese ADRs tend to slow down in volume in the afternoon. So like, I'd like Apple better because Apple should stay active going into the power hour and going into the close. Whereas Alibaba, it might just literally wither and die volume-wise in the final hour of the day. So I don't have any issues with this trade. I'm happy it's catching a bit of a bid. Still have it in the long term. But I'm probably going to stay away from that. I'd rather dip by Apple here. It's got a catalyst, all that good stuff. And there was a question. Someone said that Palantir was already at 21. It's close. But this is under VWAP while the market is strong. And if that's going to be the case, then if I like the long off the bottom, it should get to the bottom. This is not a relatively strong stock. I'd rather buy a relatively strong stock. If I'm going to buy a weak stock, then I'm going to want to get the best price. And that would not be this far in front of the low of the day.
No. I'm going to, again, we've talked about waiting for some prices here on some of these stocks. So we'll punch in some Nvidia up here at, oops, I'm not showing you the right stock. I was looking at Google. Someone mentioned in the chat. I mean, I like
What's
Google.
Google saying?
No, it's not saying anything. That was sort of the problem. I kind of went away from it. But right there, yeah, Nvidia coming back up. We are going to take some more at 891. I just got a little piece in now. I just want, like, I've done well trying to do trades like, I mean, let me just show you trades that have worked well for us. I mean, a lot of different ones, but you know, when something happens, so you come in here, you take fills at key levels, and then hopefully this happens. And then hopefully you've got the direction right as well. So there has to be a couple different things that has to happen. So like here on Nvidia, again, what's worked well is trading around some of these lines. I feel like that was, I don't even know what that was. We got stopped out there, I guess, of a long. But again, you know, that was playing 890. Okay, fine. All right, so, and then right here, you're back up again. So that was well. We took that short. It went $3 in the money. And we were just stubborn, hoping for that break. Is it stubborn? I don't know if it's stubborn. It's just that trade idea just didn't pan out. So I'm fine with that. That just didn't work. So now we'll wait to see if we can get some more up here and then fade it off of this. And the reason why is the market is right here as well. So what are we supposed to do in the afternoon? I mean, you could sit here and sort of play these levels that we had talked about in the open. And I look back down here, long Amazon 187. I mean, we're in the long right now, 187. It's not going to get back up to there. So we got to look for some trades that are kind of moving around and try to make calls on those. So that's my call for Nvidia. We're going to get out around 892 if that breaks. Now, AMD, no more shorting it at all because we're already into Nvidia. Doesn't mean we're not going to short it, but we're going to be patient. We got to wait up here now. So into the 50s, into the 60s against 153. That's my plan of action there for AMD. I hope it all makes sense to you as a little bit of a pushback here for Nvidia. And guess what? I'm putting a bid at 888s because now that we reloaded, I would love for it to break. And if it does, great. And we have double the shares, great. But at the same time, we got to make sure that we get out this time if it does come back into that area. So let's put a bid down there, take the fill in and around 899, 889 flat or something like that, and work away. So there's the reload and a long-winded explanation of what we're doing. Amazon's still $3 in the money. We need Nvidia and the market to pull back.
Yes, sir. And I see you. Look, Jarhead putting it in there, and a couple of people have mentioned Jimmy's going again. So I probably should have just punched right back in. You know, like it's going to get under VWAP. It is what it is. Like this would have been, yeah, it could have been nice. Because I was in it before, and that was actually like the best trade. It was short, was winning, took the hit on the short, reversed into the long, even got stopped out once, reversed, and then that was like kind of the better trade. But we end up getting stopped out, and then it decides it wants to go. Someone had asked in the chat, have a look at, yeah, we don't mind. I would have looked at this in the recap show for sure. The utilities. So these are utilities on the daily chart, and this is what it looks like today. So strong move up 1% and continuing to go higher. Probably not a trade. Don't really trade that ETF, but strong look there. The only things I'm in are south side. We did get into Upstart. As usual, it was 1/8 of 1 cent per share for locates here at Real Trading. That's essentially free, right? Like 1/8 of 1 cent. That's pretty cheap. Every now and then, like I think if you paid for DJT, you're paying
1/8 of 1 cent.
DJT, which is what is the most expensive stock in the market allegedly to short, which of course means shorting overnight. Like it has the highest borrow cost. That's at least what I read recently. And we get DJT for 8 cents a share because we're in and out that day. It's very, very different here at Real Trading. So I'm in Upstart. I have a bid 25.60. AMD still resisting 152 even, but it's holding underneath VWAP.
We got it.
It's holding underneath VWAP. It just needs to get down and bust this 152 level. Doesn't seem to want to do it, but it's a decent scalp trade underneath there. I know there's some big moves on some other stocks going there, that CEG and GameStop. I got my eyes on GameStop, but I have to find a different entry because it's now well past 16 even.
Yeah, come on. We were just bidding down here at 899.11.
Okay.
It went to 899.15s. 889, sorry, not 899. 889. Oh man. Okay, let's get lower, man. We need to get lower. So we to miss that by 4 cents and then to see it rip up $1 sucks. But hopefully we can come back in and get that fill. That's what we need. AMD still working, and just an update on the TQQs. That's a face slapper. There's another out for us on this one. This is again. There's not even that many green names for us here, to be honest with you. So, I mean, this is a big one for me. It's the TQs. It's number one. Them and actually, the amount of money we made on Tesla, by the way, off this short right here at 175, that and this TQ trade are my top 2 trades, and both of them are almost identical for amount that we've brought in, and that's just kind of by fluke there. So, Tesla, nice short off 175, last out there, 173. We should have... It was a break, I guess, at that time. I'm not sure what it would have been, but I just went and got out there randomly. So there was a break of maybe the 200 period or something at that time. Look where we are now, though, 172. We had written down Tesla. Let's get to the downside market, by the way. We wrote down Tesla this morning, 176 short. It came within 50 cents of that again. And Neil, we did it again. There it is right there, our last fill. So although we might be picking up dimes on other stocks, this one right here, 890.50 all the way down to 889.03. So there's $1.50 for you on Nvidia. Blink and you'll miss it. Not a bad one right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you see the difference. Like Nvidia's, I mean, it's going, but AMD, someone's got that bid right now. I think that's the small thing. Obviously, it could still go if like Nvidia gets past like 888, whatever that support level is. I feel like AMD is going to go, but you just have to find your spots. I see there's some movement. Obviously, some talk about there's another. I think it was a strike in Ukraine, and some of the oil names are moving back into the upside. There was a question: do we trade oil names? Sometimes. Not usually, every now and then we will, but XOM, potential breakout, not really my cup of tea in the afternoon, especially after oil market. Futures market's closed, not a huge fan, but I acknowledge it is breaking and there was some news. There seems like there's like some kind of a drone strike or something all the time over there in Ukraine, but probably the reason why you're getting some strength in the oil names. Don't think I'd be involved in any of them, especially after oil futures markets have closed. Just not my cup of tea. Missed Apple. Yeah. Is what it is. So Apple, we don't get the dip buy on Apple. I've canceled my bid now. It's almost back at the highs. So if we're not going to get a shot at that 184, I'm not chasing this up here. As I said with GameStop, I would like to get back in, but it's already rejected 16.4 and it's gliding back into the downside. So I'll kind of let it do its thing. If it bounces off 16 or gets close and starts bouncing 16, that's fine. If it starts bouncing right here, which it could, the previous high where I had that last long, that's 16.20. If we consolidate there, I don't mind like a 25, 26 long. Just want to see some strength come on back into it. As Meta apparently back at the high of the day, the market is cresting at this
the market
top.
Could break, I think.
Like it could go. Whoops, that's not zoomed out. There you go. We could go to the top, but you've still put in lower highs on the overall market. And as long as that's the case, I don't want to give up, the shorts that I like. Big resistance level on UPST. That's the reason for having this one. Really more to do with that. Whoops, let's go in here. There you go. Now you can see it on the 15-minute. Has more to do with it failing a double top than, hey, this is a weak stock or a strong stock. It's a strong stock today, but it just got to a big double top, showed a fail break of that high, came back underneath 26. That's why we're short. NCGC, I said I would be on the dip. Looks like it did come back in. My out's underneath 980. I just got it 93s. 993. Will not be the winning time in the 100 at the Paris Olympics.
No.
It'll be like 982 is my call.
Yeah, it depends how much juice is involved.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Depends on.
Your boy is actually healthy, by the way.
Oh, good. So the fastest man in the world may still be an Italian?
No, Lamont Jacobs is healthy. They ran the relay.
The fastest man in the world. Isn't that what they call the last gold medal winner?
If you won the world championship, no, but the world championship also. Like if you,
because I remember when like Donovan was there, he was always called that no matter what until you lost it again at the Olympics.
They have the world championships in between the Olympics, so like if somebody wins that, then they get to be the world's fastest man. So technically, like Fred Curly.
Yeah, I can't believe an Italian won that, but
so you guys won the relay. as
Shout out.
well. Defending champions in the 4x1 relay.
Yeah.
With
I
Tor
mean,
2 on the back. I'm a big track and field fan, so I know.
Italy's been, yeah, I mean, we've
They got a legit
been
team.
dominating a lot of things for many, 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 many centuries. Okay, so right here, Shopify, Nvidia, we're still waiting for that, man. AMD, we're still waiting for that. If people are wondering, like, what's up with this Amazon trade? I mean, this is going to be the disaster of the day for me, to be honest with you. And it's so funny that we have a $5 win or whatever it was. All right, let's go over here and look quickly at the sticky note. What did we write down here? 187/186 longs there for Amazon. That we love the name today, especially with the chance of further rate cuts based on that jobless claim number today. But what do we start to do? First of all, it breaks 190. We even talked about liking the 190 break. But what happens is it breaks that almost immediately. But the thing was, we already had a long from 189 down here. So when it broke, we're like, all right, let's go, expecting this kind of stuff to happen. But instead, once we broke 190, we had to start basically chasing our tail around that whole stock, because once it fell back in, I was thinking that this was just a dip, right? I mean, the market was going to sort of resolve itself. It never did that. It broke VWAP. It broke, like these are, I have outs here. These are what these reds are. We have outs here as well right there once it broke the 50 period. Then it came in, and guess what? It finally broke 188, which was the 200. I'm like, okay, if we're breaking 200 period moving averages early on, I don't really want to be a part of it. But then I was like, wait a second, we wanted 187. So then when it came back in here, I said, okay, let's calm down. By this time, it was 945, 950. And I even write on here, be patient, which is the stupidest thing. And then it comes in, hit it, and rip it right back up to the upside. So we made back probably about, only about 20% of what we had lost on it, to be honest with you. And we still have a piece right now. And debating just taking it out. We let it ride all the way up here. I wasn't even here when this was happening. But again, we only have that 10% or even less than that left on board for this. We were so excited when it came back up here to VWAP, and we're like, oh man, we got lucky there. So that was definitely a fail and a flush for the net. We are much higher now than we were at that time because we've battled back. And you've seen some of those trades, including what we just talked about there with Tesla and now the market. So yeah, we could always get better, but for now, we're getting betterer and betterer. And hopefully every day we'll be able to, improve. But for now, it's all good. So the NASDAQ's still here. It's starting to go to the upside. I mean, talk about getting better. I mean, that's boom, $1.50. Boom, $1.50. That's $3 right there. And we still have a position. So I feel much more comfortable here in the afternoon playing off levels, using big size, and doing what we do best, which is hopefully provide you guys with some entertainment and some money-making ideas.
Some stuff here from Daily. He's still talking about softening labor market, but that's what should be happening. That'll get us back to normal growth, the softening labor market, but that just spiked the market up a little bit here. I did forget one thing today, and it was obvious. Remember Morgan Stanley in that 96 break? It's why I have the iPad in front of me. So I write down the levels, or I can set up alerts, but I did not jot that one down. Usually, like sometimes you'll see me like, we'll talk about something and I'll put it down in the afternoon show. That was a huge mistake because Morgan Stanley finally made that breakout. Still going to favor longs in the stock as you see it go, but wow. Yeah, kind of a decent run. If you have it at the open, it doesn't really give you much reason to get out of it. Then it just goes VWAP hunting with not that much success. Okay, that's not, I just heard them say PCG in my ear, but it's not CGC. So CGC, we just got the 90s. Back above 10, we'll take a couple scalps into the high of the day. And then if it breaks the high, we're going to try to hold on. I don't think we're getting back into GameStop off of VWAP at this point. It looks to me like it's going to have to be the higher low. It's still got plenty of room. Remember, it's $17.50 is this top. I mean, here's like $17.30, but the other two times it was $17.50. So there's still a lot of room before GameStop runs into that brick wall. Just going to set up a stop underneath 16.2 and then get on the bid.
All right, let's not spit everything away. We're still going to be very, very patient with this trade. We're still waiting for this. We do have Frank and Berna coming very, very soon, so that should be exciting to talk all about sort of more macro kind of stuff as Neil and I will dig into some of the trading ideas happening on a daily basis, and then of course you'll hear more about rates, dollars, bonds, and diversification of said portfolio other than simple equity names. But for right now, Nvidia, again, we don't want to get too out of pocket on this. If it doesn't want to go down, that is completely fine, understood. We've just taken $1.50, $1.50, and then holding half of this last position because we just kept on reloading it. So we keep on getting out of half, so that's great. But again, like if you make $3 and then lose $3, that's a flat trade. So we're not going to try to do that. So for right now, perfect. So for right now, we do want to wait out for like a 92 or so level here for Nvidia. So let's not get too dug in until anything other than upside in and around that 92 area. So if that comes through, good. And then the other play would be breaking 52 on AMD or an average up to 153. So that's about it. So let's go. Daily is speaking, which we know what happens when the Fed starts talking. We could get a nice little market move. So let's go back over to the desk with Brendan and Frank.
Yeah, a lot to sift through here this afternoon. I was just hearing that as well. Frank is here. He's going to touch on a few things. We got this jobless claims data this morning, Frank, to kick things off. That, I mean, we're speaking from the standpoint of, you know, it's a couple in a row here now that we can point to heading in the right direction as far as not only initial claims, but the continuing claims, kind of backing up and reinforcing this argument on the other side, as we were saying, coming off that non-farm print last week.
Yeah, definitely putting more weight behind non-farm from last week. And I know we just talked about on Tuesday how, or I should say, I should own it. I was more in the camp of maybe this non-farm number is a little bit of a blip. Because, I mean, you look at the fact that CPI has been ticking higher. I think it's been every month this year from the lows either in December or January. And non-farm has obviously been strong for so long. Employment's been strong in the U.S. This whole year. And maybe that non-farm is the blip on the radar, but a continuation of the trend that we're seeing from Friday, not only a dovish Bank of England early this morning, but the jobless claims coming in a little bit hotter. And yeah, you see, I wanted to just quickly take a look at the pound to highlight what we've seen, because I would contend that both events, the big major events here to close out the week, the Bank of England meeting and this jobless claims number, which isn't usually a tier 1 data point, but is at this current moment. Just to show you the back and forth, because the central bankers in the UK come out with no change to rates, but they were pretty decided about the fact that rate cuts are very likely to come, and they also have elections and everything going on in future months, and they hit on the point that that doesn't matter to them, and they could very well cut before their election season, and they could cut. I believe they threw out June as potential to be the earliest. And given that we're in early May, that's very, very soon. And so you saw the pound get smacked pretty hard on that. But then every currency fighting back against the US dollar after that jobless claims number came out hotter than expected. And you can see here, number hottest since August of last year, almost a full year since we've seen a number like this. And again, you see all these low jobless claim numbers from January, February, and March, and those tying with the high non-farm numbers that we've been seeing. And so, yeah, another data point here that is maybe going against what I was saying on Tuesday, confirming that this developing trend isn't a blip. And what would really confirm that, Brendan, would be a lower than expected inflation reading next week. But for the time being, the trend right now is interest rates, especially in the short term, moving lower, starting to price in some more cuts like we were at the end of last calendar year.
It's a moving goalpost, as we've been alluding to, and it seems to be almost on a daily basis, kind of back and forth we go. Now we're pushing, further in this direction. And the key here, I think, and I saw you have a slide ready for this, and it's not just the U.S. We're seeing this in other countries as well. You spoke on the Bank of England this morning. Canada, not in the greatest of positions. I mean, let's be honest, we haven't been the entire time we've been going through this back and forth with inflation. Our economy nowhere near as strong as the U.S. Last GDP print was back in positive territory, but we did have a couple that were not. So as far as employment is concerned, actually contracting on that last number for the Bank of Canada. But as you were mentioning, this all alluding to the fact or pointing to the fact that, maybe even 2 back in play here.
Yeah, and I was checking the FedWatch tool as I do constantly, but I did want to throw out the 2-year just for a different look for people. Because keep in mind, interest rates, if you've been, unfortunately having to hear me talk on your guys' great program the last several months, this stuff can seem really opaque and really unclear. But keep in mind that interest rates, especially when you're talking about the US, which we've been focusing on so much because they're really a benchmark for global rates in a lot of ways, it's all really the same stuff. And so I wanted to throw out the 2-year because we look at the FedWatch tool, which is essentially the next couple of meetings, what's the overnight interest rate supposed to be? But you can also look at the 2-year yield in the US and essentially say, that's more or less pricing in how many rate cuts or hikes or whatever are supposed to happen in the next 2 years of duration. And I know this is a futures product and it's not exactly 2 years. And there are some smart people out there that could point that out. Totally understood. But let's just, for the sake of argument, say this is 2 years of duration worth of interest rates in the US. And right now, the overnight interest rate is 5.25% to 5.5%. So when this market was down at 4%, that's about 150 basis points or 6 rate cuts. And remember when I jumped on at the end of last year, coinciding with the bottom in this market there in December, January timeframe, we were looking at that FedWatch tool and it was saying 6 or 7 rate cuts, right? And so now with this market bouncing back up to 5%, got right up there to 5% once again here a little over a week ago, that was pricing in 1 or 2 rate cuts and a significant chance of, if it went up to 5.25%, that 2-year yield, that would be pricing in essentially no rate cuts for the next 1 to 2 years there. Now that market moving sharply lower in the last week, coming off of the FOMC meeting that was kind of a mixed bag, but really off of that non-farm that was a lot weaker than expected. And now today rates moving lower again. And keep in mind that 4.8, 4.75%, that's more like 2 or 3 rate cuts. So yeah, Brendan, we're right back in there in that pricing out the chance of no rate cuts. Now I think it's under 10% chance of no rate cuts this year. And now stretching our legs a little bit past 1 rate cut, maybe 2, maybe 3. But keep in mind, yeah, we are into May. I should have looked this up. I think we only have 4 or 5 Fed meetings the rest of the year. And so it would have to be really a low inflation reading next week and another low non-farm the first week of June to get to 3 rate cuts this year. But now they are settling on really at least 1, maybe 2 in the last handful of meetings, the second half of this year, really.
We've been punting around the concept of who's going to blink first in the major banks all across the world, and it might actually end up being the Bank of Canada who ends up, being forced to blink first here and make their first cut. I mean, there's some people talking around here, even in June, coming back up again. So yes, inflation is still well above where they want it in this country as well, nowhere near their target. But this slide really highlighting the simple fact that employment is a bit of a problem here.
I was really surprised by this. And yeah, you all have your unemployment rate coming out tomorrow morning, if I'm not mistaken, which could really be a story, because you're exactly right. In Forex markets, you're seeing a lot of the volatility around who is going to cut first. And it very well might be you all in Canada, given the stair step higher the unemployment rate has taken. And yeah, of course, I always go back to this: central banks globally. It's not just the US or the Bank of England or whoever. Globally, everybody is keying in on a 2% inflation rate and an unemployment rate that is, closer to 4 or 5%. And if Canadian unemployment takes another leg higher tomorrow, and I think I had it, but the expectation is for it not to move higher, I believe, or maybe by 0.1%. But I think it's expected to be the same as last time. Then you start to weigh things, and you start to maybe weigh a slightly higher than 2% inflation with a rising unemployment rate and say, okay, we feel pretty good about inflation, but we're getting worried about unemployment, especially, you raised this point last week, and everybody knows this, but we forget it sometimes, and it's worth noting constantly. These numbers are all backward looking, and the last thing you would want is your employment to get out of control in the wrong direction, and your inflation to be in a pretty good territory, and then these backward looking numbers confirm, okay, inflation is fine, but you really should have maybe looked at cutting rates a couple of months ago because now your employment is really bad. And so not quite there in Canada. Obviously, the central bankers would have cut already if they thought that you all were there. But it'll be interesting if Canada is the first to cut interest rates, because I think you're speaking with a little bit of humility there. Canada was very strong on the way up in interest rates, and the Canadian dollar was really one of the best performers against the U.S. dollar over the course of the last couple of years. But yeah, it'll be really interesting here on the way down who is going to be the first, who's going to cut the most also when all is said and done. When we're 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now, seeing the landscape will be really interesting, because right now the US, Canada, and UK are all around 5%, give or take maybe 25 to 50 basis points. And the Euro area and Australia are around 4 to 4.5%. Obviously, Japan's at 0 still. Of the major economies, who blinks first, who blinks the hardest, I guess, to continue on that analogy, will be hugely indicative of what Forex markets are looking like over the course of the next several months. And so that Canadian employment number tomorrow, maybe not going to shake equity markets so much, but will definitely shake up the interest rate and Forex space.
As steep as the move up was, regardless of what country you look at, as steep as the move up was in interest rates, it might actually be a slow, kind of steady unwinding of this as they, get a feel along the way for how the economies are reacting to it. So the forecast was, just go back to that, 15,000 on the gain side. Prior was, as I was mentioning, negative 2,200. Consensus around 18,000. So yeah, the unemployment rate though actually expected to tick up again, 6.2 versus 6.1 on the last one. So yeah, it remains to be seen. But no, I think there's a lot of room for, a lot of people around here would echo this as well. A lot of room for some easing on this side of the border. Anyways, great stuff. Frank Caperna is Director of Strategy over at IG in Chicago. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Brendan.
I was going to hit this during.
New highs.
I wanted to hit this so bad as Frank was talking, but I didn't want to do it because it's loud, and I didn't want to be rude to him. But there it goes, man. I feel like
Canada needs to raise rates. I'm just going to throw it
yeah.
out there.
I didn't want to hit that during when Frank was on there, but thank you so much for Frank for coming through one more time. And yeah, I'd like to see Canada step first, and then hopefully we'll be able to see the reaction to our economy, and then maybe the U.S. can react accordingly. But yeah, interesting to see what's going to happen. We're pretty sure the U.S. is going to cut, so
Yes.
we'll see just who jumps first. Bank of England remains tight, so.
Yeah, and the ECB is probably going to move first at the end of the day too, and that's just going to move the dollar around if you're into that sort of thing. So the usual thing that happens at 2:45 happened, and that is the market, while Frank is on, made fresh highs. So congratulations to anybody that was long. A couple of things. First, let's go to AMD. It did not hold, so my stop was right in here. I got stopped out. You're going to see I'm actually in a new position. Oh, wait a minute. That still says Frank down there. We love Frank.
Yeah.
Frank Cabrera, Director of Strategy. There you go.
Should be so lucky.
New position for me. That was
It's
magic, and thank
magic.
you very much, there remain. Google actually woke up. I wasn't paying attention to Alphabet, but then all of a sudden it got above this breakout level. So it's gonna be a relatively tight stop in here. I'll get to Upstart. I'm still short that one, and CGC starting to go, but this one, it just went red to green. So it's like a red to green move for me. It's going to be a very tight stop. If it holds 30s, it's got a lot of room to the top if we're going to continue to go. And this has been in the VWAP to 169.30 range for the entirety of lunchtime. So if it holds on to 30, I think it's got a decent movement to run. I would have either gone VWAP or long this breakout. Clearly, VWAP is a little bit of a ways away. And then CGC did come up into back into the highs. Hasn't really printed the top just yet, so like 10, I'm sitting at 10.12 with the high at like 10.17 up here. Cannabis doesn't care, this doesn't care what the market's doing. It's gonna do, and it hasn't really cared the entire way. It's just gonna do its own thing. This is more of a relief rally. Remember, this has been pulling back for 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6 days in a row, CGC. So getting a bit of a relief move through this $10 area.
All right, guys, we are trying to be that trader that we're trying to be. I mean, there it is right there. Spin it again. Look at the damage that we're doing on Nvidia just right now. You know, like as we go back and forth here, this has been quite the trading opportunity here. Short, boom, load up as we said we would. Boom, to the downside again. This is like multiple dollars. That's $1 right there. Look where we're short. We're short 891.26, $2, not one. $2 in the money right now for your Dollar Club members, and that's going to be a good trade. I'm waiting for more. I want more Nvidia, but it's just not at those levels yet. We were waiting for AMD, not at those levels. And I think we got a little greedy there. We should have taken some out of taken the last piece out of Amazon up at that level. But it's been sort of a print factory over here this afternoon with the TQs going long on them. Boom, all the way back up. This has been fantastic. We're long. These greens are long. And then the short on Nvidia has been a print factory. So far, so good here this afternoon. And I want everyone to, I'm going to tweet this out. But immediately, Brendan and I, everyone around here, working super hard to give you the best content possible. So we're changing it up for our podcast. We're going to go Freedom and Wealth. We've been talking all about some interesting stuff, man. Brendan told me that, hey, put some money into some GICs. Why did he do that? Find out on your Freedom and Wealth podcast. What else are we talking about? What about the real estate market? You know, average dudes trying to talk about average things and how to get going on your freedom and wealth, how to invest potentially a little more wisely, and unlock that freedom that we're all looking for. So we're gonna go for it. We're gonna give it a go. Follow us right now immediately. We'll put this, and I know I'm not gonna copy it. Bears versus Bulls. We'll put that in the chat. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Oh, and there we go again. New workout for my daughter scheduled Thursday, May 16th, 6:30 a.m. So there it is. Oh,
and just a reminder on that, just for anybody, like if you were like subscribed to the old podcast or whatever it might be, it's completely new.
Yeah,
so even if you're subscribed to the old one and you get the notifications, make sure you go here to the Freedom and Wealth to get the new one. So it's completely different. It's not gonna be automatic, so you don't want to miss out on that content. I know, like myself, I used to get the subscription, the notification on the mornings, on Saturday morning. You can lock it loaded, you can download it to your phone, whatever. But you're gonna want to make sure you get right into that. And at the end of the day, I still think financial education sucks in North America,
so bad.
at least for the average person. It's not, I don't want to get political about it, but you're not going to learn the stuff you need to learn in high school or university, right? The practical stuff. So that's what it's all about here. It's all about the market is trying to go. It's weird because the entire day the market's been trending up and Robinhood's been trending down. So when we just make a high and pull back, I suppose that's the moment that Robinhood decides it wants to wake up off the lows. So Robinhood's starting to go here. This was green, gapped up. The only earnings name that I remember this morning when we sat down and started the show that was actually positive today was Robinhood, and now it's negative into a weak market, or sorry, into strong market. And on volume, it's starting to go here. So if we are going to have some kind of a trend to the upside, it's not like an SSR bounce play, but it bounced exactly off $17 and just broke out off 17.25. So with that, I'm going to back into the 17 quarter level. That's what it's all about. Brad Gober, I agree, it's all about money and not the. Oh no, it's all about the kids, man. No, I just did a Ron Burgundy where like Brad just goes like, I agree. So I was about to read the thing. It's all about money and not the kids. I completely disagree. It's all about the kids, and that's exactly. Well, I see what you're saying there is that in the education system they're not putting the kids first. I don't think it's even that malicious. I just feel like sometimes we have to make an effort as parents and as a community to ensure that the younger generation and everybody gets the education you want. Like, why not take personal responsibility? That's just my 2 cents. Like we can sit here and we can educate ourselves about compound interest and some of the topics you guys will be getting into and diversifying. You don't need someone else to do that for you. Let's all take the onus on ourselves, right? Like I believe in that wholeheartedly. Let's go. If we get a dip buy in Robinhood, we get it. I don't want to chase this move. It's been entirely too weak. If we can come to the chart for a second here, I just realized you guys haven't seen the chart of Robinhood that I'm talking about. Ram. Chart. There we go. Yeah, it's getting off the bid. I don't want to chase this. If I think I'm wrong at about 17.20, then I want something in the 25 to 30 range. So if it dips back in, we'll go ahead and grab that. The other thing that we just grabbed was Alphabet. It pulls right back in, doesn't break 30, so it actually holds on. So I took the breakout. It then holds this level, so you guys can see it holds a 30 level, and now it's shooting higher. I don't even have offers yet. I think this has room to get to at least 169.80. So that means the 3/4 I should have an offer out there in the 70s, and we'll see what we can do. If the market decides to trend higher, I want something that's going to follow it a little bit. I think Hood could. I think Google could as well, or Alphabet could as well. CGC.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I mean, CGC, I guess it might, but it doesn't really matter. This is not adjacent to the market at all. This is now starting to lose like 10-10. I should scalp more of this out. The mistake I made, and I'll take you back to both AMC and GME. I mean, the difference being I'm at least up on GME because I had enough winning trades that it's fine. But every time I was holding on to probably too much for the dream and then just getting wicked out on the last of it. So like while I'm up on it every single time, I'm just like wicking out when I'm trying to hold for the dream on both those.
Yep.
So scalping out, gonna scalp out some more on CGC when it just gave it to me there and learn that lesson. Like if it's moving in a 20-cent range, take the 15 cents.
It's a tough lesson because
But like,
you expect so much of it. And that's what hurts me on Nvidia and all this stuff too, man.
the problem with GameStop is like the first experience trading it was vastly different from what it is now.
Yeah.
Our first experience trading GameStop is if you get it good, you were just gonna bank. And now it's obviously a little bit different, for sure.
Yeah, we're at a spot right now. We just got some more out of our Nvidia, so we just like got that 892, Phil, and it broke it, almost took out that top right there. So my out is 892.50. Some of you have asked that in the chat. I discussed that top right here for Nvidia. I kind of want to watch it. Well, my stop orders, as long they're in, so it's fine. But let me just go over what just happened. So we were using not this stop up here. That's too much because we're going to break VWAP. We've already showed that the downside, not getting out there, but whatever. Not getting out there allowed us to reload it. So, it was fine at the end of the day. But that level, I'm just not trying to hold it too much past VWAP. And it's poked its head above once into like 892 30s or, without zooming in. A dime or even 15 cents probably. 50 cents probably won't even matter on Nvidia. The spread alone right now is 50 cents. Literally, 23s and 80s. Like 50 cents right now as a spread. So if it breaks 892.50, we're just going to try to punch out of that and then hopefully get a good fill. But what I want to say is because we just ripped up there and the futures are kind of doing nothing, I'm getting nervous that this is going to break. It's going against the market. So if this market does rip, we're screwed. So we're going to get out there at 892.50, and we just took out some right there. We got another reload, and we took some out. So, again, turning winning trades into losing trades is not a recipe for any kind of success. We're bidding down here at 891.30 to get another piece out. If that happens, then we can breathe that sigh of relief because then we're ready to play with house money again, and we can start moving back into the downside. That's Nvidia. Consistently, our heart attack waiting to happen. So watch out for Nvidia coming through. Shopify's come all the way back down.
Down?
No, it's still 50 cents. Shopify, yeah, only 14 cents in the money. The market is 50 cents in the money. Come on, Nvidia, push. I'm bidding 20 cents lower to take some profit. We're now 50 cents in the money on Nvidia on that reload. Amazon had its move up to 191. We should have double topped once, twice, thrice, even again, 4 times at 191. Focused on other things with not enough shares on Amazon, but should have got out of that. Right now, we're just worried about this one. Bring it, Nvidia. We're in the 30s, a little bit more in on this. Again, the spread is what's killing me. We didn't even get filled yet, and we're trying to close this gap. So let's see if we can get it. We may or may not be right into here somewhere, trying to get filled on Nvidia and did not get it yet. So we're literally on the bid now. So there it is. Thank you. The saga continues. Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang. We're in the money one more time here on Nvidia. So these reloads continue to be a print factory that all of you want. Shout out to Kevin Mendoza and everybody else out there right now. These are clean plays given to you. So that's $1.50, $1.50, $3. So that's 1, 3, 9. Plus whatever's happening right now. We're short at 892. It's at 891. So, pick your poison. Trade accordingly, but so far so good here on Nvidia. That was a heart attack as we almost broke 892.50.
892, and that and the blue line there, like that's no.
Yeah.
The 250 period of the
VWAP.
VWAP, right? Yeah. So you stick to it. I didn't want to
get down.
VWAP's red on my chart. It's blue on Sean's, but VWAP is VWAP. I did get a new position. That's Apple. So I was waiting for a pullback on Apple, and it came right in to, it essentially stopped at 184.30. It doesn't get to 184, but it's still putting in a series of higher lows. So I'm in here on Apple. My price is 38, but it was just above 35. Gonna give it to that local bottom. If it goes to 184, I'd rather that be a separate trade. So this is at least a relatively strong name in there. Let's see what happens. I didn't even realize that there was a stock that Michael Noss was talking about to start the week is going to be reporting. So it's DND now, but it's tomorrow. I thought, well, I saw it and then I was calling up, I'm like, oh, if it reports tonight, I know I have Danielle Shay on to do the aftermarket show, but I would have gone over it, but it doesn't report till tomorrow morning. So Rivian Millionaire will be waiting around for the morning for that. I haven't pulled it up. We'll see what it does, and we can talk to Michael about that. Actually, if it reports tomorrow morning, tomorrow's Friday, we'll have Michael Noss to talk about it himself, which is even better because he mentioned it this Monday, and then they report tonight or tomorrow morning. That's fantastic. So I didn't see anything specifically on Robinhood, but I did mention if it dips back down into the quarters, I do like this one. Gaining some steam back to the upside is Robinhood. Let's see what happens. New position was Apple, still in CGC. Alphabet is, going sideways off the top here. Still think it has a chance if we can break. The market just pulled back 20 or 30 points, and this is exactly where it was before. And by exactly, it's like, I don't know, up, down like a few cents, but not really making any kind of a power move. If you want relative weakness,
you want power.
Low of the day just broke, Tesla just broke the low of the day as it continues lower. I'll look back at my note, and the first stock I had on it this morning was Tesla 175, and I'm not in it. But if it's going to continue to go lower, a flat bottom break here, are you kidding me? 172s? Yeah, this is breaking lows while the market's pulling back. This is a short to 72. It's the weakest stock, not in the market. There's weaker stocks, but it's the weakest stock in the Mag 7, and it's not even close.
Guys, we've got this again. Remember yesterday I said we've made back a lot? Well, we did it again right now. It's just, we messed up on Amazon early, but the damage that we're putting on right now, this Nvidia, we've taken probably about $10 or more because now this trade is $2 in the money again. So all this is the benefit of being a scalper like I am and just making this money right here. You have the ability to do this. We're able to short it, and there it goes right now. Play with confidence. There's nothing else that I can say to you. It's whatever your levels are, just go for them. You get burned, you get burned. That's what trading's all about. At the end of the day, you can look down and see, where did you screw up? I know where I did today, and other than that, I know exactly where we're making money. We're making money being patient, and we're making money making calls and waiting for them to develop for us. So like, sure, we messed up not getting out there. Boom, boom, boom. How does that feel? So that was a good one there. And then the patience with AMD is also, we're at 85. I can't 75 is what came. We should have faded that, but it's all good. We still got 50s downside here. We still talked about where AMD's home was, and that was below 152. So I'm not changing my mind on that one. And let's go. This is exactly, you see? There we go. Sans Amazon today, and but we can't. You have it, right? You have those trades on board. So again, red day because of what we did on Amazon, but super, super confidence at highs right now. We were going to work on some sort of an emoji that, or a GIF that Adara figured out. We'll get that for you guys in a minute, but in a little while. But this is now $3 in the money. Have that confidence in your trades. And we're making these calls. I gave this trade before we went to the desk with Frank, right? So in case this has happened, I told you this is what we're doing. And we did it, and reaping benefits, Neil. What a great afternoon.
Yeah, it's definitely a great one. I'll be the first to admit we gave back yesterday. Actually gave 2 positive days this week and gave them both back in here today. And most of it I think was greed in the morning. I should be up on AMC. I can admit that. It was an easy risk to reward trade that I didn't take. And then the other thing was like GameStop. Like I can be up on GameStop, but I can still trade it poorly. I am now in Tesla. We say go short weak stocks and long strong ones. Well, Apple's trending up. Google broke trend to the upside. CGC's been trending all day since the morning. Tesla continues to break lower. And I already said in my morning note, like the first thing on there was actually Tesla 175. Well, it was like the failed of the 175 level, and then the 176 would have been like, to me, like a breakout price actually. At the open, all it did is at the open it dumped the 175. And of course, I was wrapped in other things when it came to 75. But if it's going to break the bottom, I'll short it in the consolidation underneath. And if we continue to fall, I think this is more or less one of the weaker names out there. It's now losing the 50 period on the daily, not a great sign. And if it gets anywhere near 170, that was yesterday's low where it obviously had all kinds of a bid. So I think it has a chance at the 171 first, and then 170 will be next. Yes, GameStop. And that's essentially why I went over this one. Like GME, frustrating as it might be, like every single time. Like we had the long, again, it's not about being red or green on it. I can evaluate the trades and say that I should have done way better because I'm holding for the dream, stopping out and not getting back in at 16. And 16 was the best level. There's no question about it. And I'm sitting there getting stopped out. You can jump right back in the trade. If you like it, I'm always going to adhere to a stop. That's the way I like to do it. I don't necessarily want to have like one trade blow up a day or a week or anything like that. It's going to happen from time to time, but every now and then this is going to happen to you. It's not bottom wick, but it's close enough to it on GameStop. I'm not chasing this top break. I liked it when it was tight enough to 16.
Oh, yes.
But at these highs of the day, I think that's a little bit much on GameStop. You punch that top and it does a reversal, and it can get real nasty real quick.
All right, we're back. We're back. We just noticed we're back. Let's go. Boom! There it is right there. Let's go, man. It's a props kind of a day right now. And what we're doing. Look what just happened for Nvidia. That right there is $5 on that reload, 450. I mean, honestly, boom, boom, boom. Take the 200, take the VWAP, and then all the way down there to the downside. Oh, what's up, Yannick? What's up, everybody there in the chat? What's up to Yannick behind me, if he's still around? Yeah, you went in. Good job, $16. You saw it. Neil go long, made 30 cents. Good job on that one on GME. Again, Neil.
There's nothing wrong with scalping it. That's the thing. It was a great scalp trade. Yeah.
Yeah. How about this scalp trade?
Well, that's not. I mean, some of it's a scalp.
This is all scalping.
Chart.
Man. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is scalp trading right here. But that's a good one, man. No 30-cent winners here. Of course, GME very much different.
Well, that's like a 2%.
Yeah, very much different than Nvidia. But obviously, even we can all, I'm sure, appreciate this here on Nvidia. So all good. All right. And also, guys, right back down on AMD as well. I mean, that was, again, good. So far, so good. Yeah, still on AMD. Yeah. The professor, well, the professor's Sharif, but I'll take the compliment. I like that one as well. Yeah, he is the professor. He ain't here. All right.
He used to. What is that about GameStop? Oh, it's just GameStop new highs. That's all. No, he used to wear the glasses. That's the reason he got the professor look. So I think one day he wore them, and then it's kind of stuck from there. It's just like a fun thing that we do. I just got on the offer first time here on Google. As the market pulled back, but it's still trying to continue this breakout. So Alphabet, VWAP holding, now trying to break it out. Relatively strong name. If you look at it on the daily chart as well, I mean, on the daily chart, like you had a pullback and then a nice little bounce. So you had the earnings, break, pull back after earnings, making a bit of a higher low. Now you're getting a consolidation. It's kind of like a recovery upward pattern. Tomorrow, or maybe tonight, 170.25 will have to be reckoned with. If it can't get past 170.25, I think it's going to have some trouble, especially going into a Friday. 170 is a big optionable level as well. But I like what I see. Like it finally made that pullback after earnings and found a little bit of a bid there. So relative strength in Google. So even with the market pulling back, it's starting to head back into the upside.
Oof.
A little something in my eye there.
Ooh, man. All right. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. All right, let's go. Yeah. I'm not really doing too much else, man. I mean, I'm pretty just chill right now. Oh, what I wanted to show you before was, without, it's a sheet there for the lineup. Like baseball's 9 players. I have 15, and trying to schedule them and getting all their sits and everything like that. I was like, Neil was like, oh, you should use some ChatGPT. And I'm like, yeah, I probably should. And then just input like what positions they're best. But the thing about it is that some of the players that are on here, if they're batted low in the batting order last game, then I kind of want to put them higher. I mean, I don't have to do that, but I'm trying to keep a lot of the players near the top that deserve it. But at the same time, trying to figure this all out. So
it's a balance.
You can't have can't have players sit 3 times and then one sit once. Like you got to keep it all balanced. So that's what I've been doing. Straight from here, right to the diamond, and then back to hockey.
Well, we had there was a clinic yesterday for.
Yeah, those are the funnest.
Yeah, and then there's like there's a Zoom call for rules on Sunday evening that I got to do.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they
Lots
sent
of
me.
rules.
Yeah, but they sent me the booklet. Okay, I read the PDF.
Oh, did you? Okay, well that.
I'm like, do I really? No, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to it. But
okay, yeah.
No, because it's not normal baseball rules. My daughter's in. It's like this. It's this weird hybrid coach pitch t-ball, which I'm not. It's like how many pitches do you get? You get like 4 pitches, and then one inning you're hitting with the tee, and then the next inning it's coaches are pitching. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. GameStop's starting to pull back in here. So if you look at the way, like I'm not in it. Obviously, you see I stopped it out. There it is. Stop out. But if you're looking for a dip buy level, generally speaking, like I like the whole, there's resistance, you buy it into that little dip. So the next would be like the 1660 level. So I said I'm not chasing it. There's room to 17.5, but I'm not chasing this thing ever. So like the next move would be it holds 1670 or 1660 in this case, look long in the low 70s, high 60s, and then scalp to the high, hold some for the dream. Although, I think the better job has been to get the bulk out in the scalp trade and hold a small position for the dream, not hold the larger position for the dream. Like that's essentially where I've gotten wrong. But I'm going to get into it here. Again, did not want to buy tops, don't care about 17 even breaks, not going to take it. I just want the first pullback in a previous resistance every single time on GameStop. It's essentially been working. You just want to make sure that you're taking a profit. Tesla's still, the market's coming down. Tesla's still right at 170, 170. So it holds underneath 172. If the market flushes, then Tesla gets to 170, I think. It's been really weak this entire day.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Matt Carnes there. All right, so right now we do have almost $6 now. We talked about this break on Nvidia. I mean, here we go. So it's a nice one. Breaking lower on Nvidia. Good trade there today. I'm really getting a little winded of this market here because we've sort of already pieced out absolutely everything that we've been doing here this afternoon. I mean, let's just review the trades. AMD, Nvidia, we had that trade. We talked about Tesla and what we were looking at for that, and unfortunately we let that one go. Amazon's still pushing lower, but the idea here was short, and short into that market there, pretty flat day. As long as we didn't break that high, we sort of talked about that, and that's, you know, when we got short Nvidia up there, and then now I feel like we've got it, man. I feel like Tesla could have been your trade of the day. I mean, again, you're seeing the way different styles that we have, right? And so that's the best part about it. You'll see a different style with Adara on the midday show and Sharif trading completely different. You know, both just kind of starting out as traders. So you're going to see that with Learn to Trade, and then, you know, hopefully a little bit more precision and plays like this. And even Affirm, when we talked about going long at 33, I mean, look where it is. This is, again, another idea, long 33. You know, it's at 34.50. So it's just like, that's part of it.
Is it literally 34?
Yep, 34.50. Yep. So that's again another one. What's up, Jerome? That's another one. Yeah, Jerome. I know. All right. So there's that. You know, Amazon this long at 187.50. Yeah, Jerome's long Affirm. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but he's long Affirm. Google right here. We had that long. Again, took like a 30-cent hit on it. It does go down to that bottom now, all the way back up to the upside. So, you know, a couple trades that we had early and then dropped them out, but it's really this one that's really starting to sing right now, down $6 now from that high. And this is, again, another trade. So far this afternoon, you've gone 2 for 2 following me with both AMD and Nvidia. So the same sector, but again, feel like we had a good read on it. And obviously we did with the results that are here. So far so good. Let's let's figure this all out. But yeah, I'm going to be holding this into the close, and then we'll just watch out because AMD is going to break as well. We're 40 cents in the money on AMD off that short at 45, 35 cents in the money, and that's it. So those are my plays. Shopify has come back, but we've already done like the damage on this one. We'll see if it breaks lower, and we'll just get out of that for flat, and then in what is a $3 winner should have been 4 or 5. We should have got out of that at 191. So it's been a good one there. It is what it is. And, you know, again, thanks for the support. Be back tomorrow. We'll be here at 8:30.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, we're not going anywhere, but it is almost 3:30, as you just mentioned. And it's exactly the same thing that just happened on GameStop. Every single time this stock gets above $17 this week, it's the same thing. We had the 1670 long just now with a 60 stop. I got some out at 90, so we grabbed the 20 cents, 2-to-1 risk, and then it tried to break and hold above 17, so I just trailed it out for essentially like 27 pennies in there. Every day this week, 17 break fail, 17 break fail, 17 break fail, break fail, break fail. So if today's different from every other day, that's fine. I have no issues with that. I'm cool with it. I think, and we did this the other day too. Like we had a long into 17. I said if it continues going, fine. But rather be long into it instead of taking a breakout. That's the reason why. There are moments where you want that breakout trade. I still feel like if it breaks 17.5 on the daily, like that's a breakout that gets me a little bit more excited. It does that early in the day and you have all day to go, like a $1 to resistance or a $1.10 to resistance, and then you could absolutely fly to the upside. But you know, I'd rather just say, what's the easier trade? And what I didn't do last time, which was make sure we bank the profit and don't let it get back in, make sure you bank the profit, don't let it get back in, you just make the adjustment, right? Like the read's good. It's like reverse long at 16. You know where the dip buy is. It does the higher low into support. You take it, but you make the money there and you just don't let it stop out. It breaks the high, dips down in, you take it, and then scalp that trade. We were just saying there's a 30-cent move. There's another one in there for you guys if you like it. But the imbalances, good question, IK. There's no individual early look imbalances until, well, there's a few out there. We don't get the actual overall market number for the early look, but for NASDAQ, you're asking about Tesla for imbalances. We'll get early looks on some New York stocks. So like you can see Pfizer is supposed to come out of sell at 350, and then Visa is 1.6. But NASDAQ imbalances, you just see them come out at 350. There's no early look or any advantage that we have when it comes to NASDAQ ones. Like anything you see that's NQ is going to be from this morning, or it was like a halt or something. So like GPATU, whatever the heck that is, it must have had some kind of a halt, and that's why you'd see it. But everything else is going to be New York. So at 350, I can let you know what any imbalance, if any, on Tesla is. But right now, we just have to wait like everybody else.
Yeah, that is true enough. I'm thinking about this 887.50. So just so everybody's clear about what I'm doing right now, my stop right now is at 892.50. So it's 70 cents worth of risk, and we talked about the risk that was associated with this trade when it was up here. So much that I got out of some of it when it came back in, just even like 30 pennies. So 70 cents worth of risk is now 5.30 in the money. So as we talked about that before, if you make 10 cents on GameStop, but your risk is only 2 cents, then it's equivalent to something like this. You know, so that's what you have to do, is break down your style of trading, because honestly, Nvidia at 900, we've seen Adara at NVDL, and other traders trade smaller stuff. So you got to figure out like what your stop is in relation to that if you're doing a risk to reward thing. I don't do that, so I was just letting people know that if that's something that you do. 887.50 right now, so I'm just going to cancel that, and it looks like we're going to get out. Whoops, what the? All right, did I just push enter there? No, okay, so now that we're all the way up, let's just go to 888. And again, this is pretty silly, 01. So we're gonna cost ourselves 50 cents here because we're getting close to that break level. Let's just put that out right there. So here comes the stop now. We changed it to 888 because I fumbled it. We could have just punched out now. This will wind up costing me 50 extra cents, it looks like, at the end of the day. But hey, $4 winner. This was down to 885 there. 885.50 probably was probably a good spot that you could have got out. So we'll give back a little bit here at the end of it all, especially when it does break this 888. But hey, you got to have stops. So to not get out, we already took that advantage of that right there. So good little whoosh down there for Nvidia. Probably should have had it out at the very bottom there. But again, you know, I don't have a problem waiting and being patient with the strategy. It worked out for us on AMD. So we only have 20% left of this as it came right back down in, and we did the exact same thing on AMD. Came back in, put the money in our pocket, and ran away. So there goes Nvidia, end of the day right there. It's a face slapper for NVDA, out at 888. If that's wrong, it's wrong. We'll look to reload it, but it's, I mean, again, now it's got to get back to 890. Congratulations if you trailed on that one. And over to the screen, or over to the, green screen. Right now is a, are we ready?
Yeah, we have quite a few names to look at today that we're making outsized moves, and some interesting catalysts here as well. One of them is going to be Norfolk Southern, NSC, this one down about 3%, having a bit of a Disney-style activist investor situation. Ancora was the activist investor involved, and they actually did secure some board seats, though the company did end up keeping its CEO, Alan Shaw. Next up, we have Lululemon, LULU, this one up about 2.5% here. Chief Product Officer Michelle's son exercising about $237,000 worth of options. So nice look there for LULU. Last but not least, we do have EQIX, Equinix. This one posting an earnings, EPS beat here, but sales miss. Is worth noting as well, though, they are up 11% despite this note coming here from Hindenburg Research, accusing it of accounting manipulation during its earnings report. So interesting look here for EQIX, 12% to the upside. Lots of names with cool catalysts to talk about today, guys.
Yeah, go Lulu. Lulu. I mean, obviously, like everything else in retail land, Lulu's been in a little bit of a pullback recently.
Not everything. There's a lot that are working, but not Lulu. Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding because the weekly chart looks like this on Lululemon. Little bit of a pullback, but it had been bouncing relatively nicely last month. So I guess like a little bit of a consolidation, but on a weekly, underneath the 200 period moving average is where it stalled out. Yeah, if it can't hold on to this and makes a fresh low, you could really see 2022 lows where personally, I'll be buying it down there, but that's just me. Happen to like it. Update, just a quick little update. Alphabet went one step up and then comes right back one step down. I've moved the stop up to underneath this bottom here at 169.35. And just for everyone that's still following the apes out there, GameStop did this time. This time it actually did not fail 17 right away. So there it goes. I went for the scalp trade. It's going for that 17.50. After all, it's a little bit late in the day to want a massive breakout like that. I like dip buys and consolidations better because you can have this is where I'm getting in and this is where my stop is. I feel like where you're taking a 17.5 break that has a lot of room to run, that's not a trade that I would want to have a 10-cent risk on. Like you can dip buy it and put 10 cents of risk on it to make 20, but in this particular case, you put 10 cents of risk, you're just going to get rinsed. So I'd rather it show me what it's going to do, and if there's a dip buy available off that level, I'd rather take that.
All right, I mean, we got back in at 888. The minute it didn't run any higher than that, I was like, okay, well, we were close enough there. So we just shorted more there and just took like 70 cents or something on the way back. But it just went $1 back into the money for us. We're going to give it to 888.50 right now. So we're short at 17s. We just took some out, as you can see right there at 50s. And then we just went down to 887 again, giving us that $1 winner back on Nvidia. So yeah, it was all good at the end of the day there. We take $4, then we punch it back into the low. If this can get lower now for Nvidia, then, I mean, all good. But if we break that 888.50, then we're gone. So we'll wait. Again, spread of 50 cents. Not for the faint at heart. There, that is Nvidia. Yeah, what else?
Jarhead, GameStop doing GameStop things. I actually don't think it's doing new things for GameStop because GameStop hasn't been this stock for a while. So I mean, I think it's going back to some small semblance of what it used to be. Alan in the chat, you think Hood goes higher? I've canceled my dip buy in Hood. It just never came in, and it's now 335. So if Robinhood were to get back down to 17.25, I wouldn't want it. It already made a higher low without me, and I didn't get picked up. So I would have looked for a dip in here off 50s down into quarters. I didn't get it. Now you're going to continue to go higher. I'm not going to chase the move. If it gets down underneath that support, there's just no point. Like, why would I want that trade? At that point, you're seeing it fail back into the lows. And it's way too late in the day for there to be any kind of a move. Apple's still trying to go. Going to get some out in front of the high of the day here. And if it breaks the high, 185, obviously it's A, going to be a round number. Ooh, where'd that wick come from? It's a round number, and then 185, go right on back into Tuesday, and 185 is going to be your top. So I'll get some out before we get there, and then if it gets to 185, regardless of any imbalances, we're going to take that out. We're getting toward the end of the day where we have to respect, time as well. And remember I said I'm not taking a 1750 GameStop break this afternoon? Just don't like them at the end of the day. If that happens in the morning, like, it's worth giving it the room. You have all day for it to run. Like, if it goes parabolic into $20, $25 or something insane, you've got lots of time for it to go. But if you take it at 337, it's almost like it just has to start working right away to get you that massive move. It might actually help tomorrow, the fact that it failed that breakout here at 1750, because then maybe there'll be a little bit, less people involved or more juice to the trade if it can do it tomorrow as well. So I give you my reasons why I didn't want to have the 1750 break. You might have got 20 cents really quick, but that's not what I would look for off a break like that. So
yeah,
stayed away.
Yeah, we're so we did get. I mean, Nvidia wound up breaking again. So that last little piece was a win, and then a loss of 30 cents, and that was it. And I think we actually wound up getting it pretty good out there. Yeah, we got 70s. I mean, now it's, okay, now I'll just show it to you because we are back into Amazon. So, yeah, so Nvidia right there, we did get out on the top. So we got punched out. Here, hold on a second, I'm trying to zoom in again. So we got punched out right there. We went re-short again, short again. Oh, sorry, that was where we got out, short again, and then in and out right there on 88. So we do basically give that back on a quick little, I guess it was short at 17s, out 70s. So I guess it was 50 cents both ways. So at the end of the day, L with all the transaction fees and whatnot. So that's an L right there. The other one there is Amazon. Amazon really starting to cook back up now. We're long at 81s on Amazon. So let's see if we can get a little bit out as we go. Here it comes. I mean, this needs to get back through. If this breaks 10 cents lower right now, we're gone. We're just trying to play off Amazon off of this little wicked bottom right there of 80s, basically, and here it comes back in. So again, a stock that's up today broke through its all-time highs of 190 and went to 190, 150. But my PL number one negative here today for Amazon when we absolutely nailed that bottom, but too early on that idea. So
it's still going to close above that high. It looks like it's so, it's very, very close. Even pulling back, like it's within cents of still closing, having that 52-week high close. Obviously, it's breached it, but that's usually very bullish. Closing above that, and it's just a line on a chart at the end of the day, but I think that's very bullish. Amazon being one of the stocks that gave you a modest opportunity to pull back in and dip buy. But I put it in the category of the ones that I missed the dip buy on. There were opportunities out there on a few names. Google gave it to you and gave everybody the opportunity to dip buy. Apple gave everybody the opportunity. Amazon, I think there's a few Mag 7 names you had to be aggressive with and just take whatever dip came and forget about the levels that you want. We talk about that all the time. If you're going to hold it forever, what do you care about 0.5% or 1% or 2%? I mean, the whole point is ever. So Tesla going sideways here, so the idea of a bigger move I think has gone out the window. With only 20 minutes left, if it gets back down into the lows, I'm just going to take some out. The 171.5 doesn't seem to want to go here. So it's consolidating underneath 172.
Selling Amazon again.
So, you know, it's consolidating underneath the 172. So I think we got the area right, but not a lot of follow through. Apple is still trying to make that run at the highs. So the high of the day is 184.65 would be that top. If it breaks that, I want to hold through and then trail back underneath 184.65 if it does make that break. Jamie's trying to go a second time.
Oh man, yeah, we oh no, nothing happened, man. I mean, we're banking out right now. It's all good. Look at Nvidia right now, though. To the downside, just goes. There it goes right there on that break lower. Look at this, boom. Talk about like 50 period, man. Sean. All right, so there it was right there, downside move. So we just lost. We gave some back there on Amazon because we were going long. But then I was like, oh my God, it feels like they're selling this thing again. And then the market just cracked. So I was like, the market cracked down and we're not really short. But then it started to battle back. Remember we were looking at Amazon before and it just looked like the sellers were always there? I thought we saw that again there for a minute. So I was like, oh yeah, it just cracked lower. But the whole kind of market broke a little bit there, down to 18.2. So potentially a misread on that. But we'll try to hover around on Amazon now and hold the short. We're short now at 80 on a much, much reloaded position now. But we've already been wrong on this name today and brutally wrong. So let's wait to see if Amazon will print us out here a little bit. And we could be right for once on this name here today. So there goes Amazon. Back to the upside. We'll wait to see if we can get some love short now as the market tries to go the other way for us. Thankfully, we're able to hold, not thankfully, AMD's not really doing anything. It was this Nvidia that really got going there again. Look how volatile these things are. Like, for me, it matters a lot because like if we're trading up here at 888 and then we get to go down to 886, like $2, you know, makes or breaks your day sometimes. So just be careful with what you're doing. Watch your shares, and it's 341 as we keep saying that.
It's getting tight.
Nvidia does need a stock split, and I think that's going to be, I think Nvidia has a bad quarter, but announces something like that, and everybody forgets all about it. It goes up for a couple days, then it gets absolutely smashed. So let's see what happens there with Nvidia.
Well, everyone else is pulling the buyback lever, though. I feel like that's the lever. The lever du jour has been the buyback one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Apple puts on the biggest one in history.
Well, $110 million. But hey, the best thing you believe in is yourself, is like a company. It's like, hey, you know what? We don't think there's anywhere else to put that cash. And so that's what they go. And it's great. It's great for the shareholders. Buffett's getting out probably because he just owns way too much of it, which does make some sense. So we're wrong about buying VWAP on Alibaba.
Fool that Warren Buffett.
He's a smart guy. Yeah, but it does make sense. Like, they own a ridiculous amount.
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm just joking. But ever since he announced that he got out, the stock's up 10%.
Yeah, well, exactly. But that's how it's going to go sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe he relieves some pressure depending on where he did.
Oh, good, Warren.
I love that Alibaba's going to hold this top, but it would be much better if it could be above $80. It's going to end up being a decent playoff VWAP if you scalped it, but it's not. It's just these Chinese ADRs in the afternoon, they just don't really move. It's making a battle for this 200 period. If this can break 80 tomorrow, you know I'm going to like it. As I said with Tesla, we're going to now hold through the low of the day, and I'm bidding in front of 171 even. Apple, I should probably make an adjustment because we're starting to come back down. It just wicked the top. I don't have to make an adjustment. It just wicked the top and came right back. So the same triple top it failed, you just punch out.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple. Like, what I was going to do was like, where am I going to trail it out to, put a stop order in? I'm like, no, it's literally at the price that I would have just put a trail in. So why give it an extra 5 cents just for the sake of it? We'll see what happens. For LTAS, I have not looked at Roku. And Bitcoin, 62,000. We're still up on Bitcoin. Not bad. That means, no, don't tell me Boeing's down again. Seriously, again? So SEC is probing Boeing over safety claims because a panel blew off. So I feel like honestly, you know when the Simpsons at the nuclear plant where we've gone X amount of days without an accident. We need a thing that's just like, if we flip it over, how many days is Boeing gone without a bad headline? This is absolutely ridiculous. VWAP is coming in, by the way. Like, how many days can they go without a bad headline? You've got to be kidding me, Boeing. Do something right. Don't screw up. Anyways, VWAP here, 181. It's actually unbelievable. It really is. Like, how could there possibly be a bad headline 2-3 times a week on this stock? I just don't get it.
Well, the only thing that means to me is this. Money. We're short. Let's see what happens right now. All right, so we're short Boeing again against 181.20. Easy day. Let's see if it works out or not. We've crushed these plays before. Let's see if we can do it again live for you right here on the show. Talk about crushing a play. Talking about being confident, and as Adair has mentioned, we'll save it for her. You have to have a certain level of confidence, and when you're there, you're there. And for right now, I mean, like I said, man, despite getting tossed around early on Amazon, we just kept our head high and battled crazily back the rest of the day. So, you know, we just got to trade a little bit better off the open, and we'll be all good. Look at this reversal here on Amazon, as we're now short at 80s, and we just got some out at 60s, as it's continuing to go lower here into what is and had been identified as an opportunity to go short there. So here we go. We reversed the position, have that ability, man. We were long in getting out, right? And then it broke. So then we went short. So here we go. Hopefully being able to print again. And again, have that kind of confidence in your game. And you know, you'll be able to hopefully take some profits every once in a while. There it is right now. Let's put another bid at 67. Okay, good job there for Amazon. Trying to bounce lower. Remember, still up on the day. Right here is Amazon, up 1% versus a market that's trying to get back. But we already seen Amazon sort of rear its ugly head at me earlier when we were long and it just tank-citied for us. But there it is right now. Continue to go lower, Amazon. Let's make this day something else and get going. So nice trade so far here on Amazon, back into the downside.
Oh my goodness, GameStop made it to 18. It did go, but look, that Boeing thing, like, I'm part of it's like half joking. We're having fun. I know some of you guys had fun with that, but it isn't good. And I'm just going to throw this one out there. So I have a bid at the 3/4 mark. Actually, it's at 70s. It's not at the 3/4. It's in front of 70. And once we get that, it's a little better than 1-to-1. And then I want to look at the bottom here, which is 180.30. And we'll take some out on Boeing. But in the back of my mind, every single time there's bad news on Boeing, I keep thinking about Embraer, which is like a Brazilian. They're actually coming up with a plane that they're going to try to compete with the 737 and Airbus. I don't know what it's called, Airbus's version of 737. And look, it's a gorgeous looking chart. Obviously, it's been a duopoly for a very long time, and it's not going to be easy for them to break in. But how much longer before I don't say, why are you in your long-term account, Neil, taking a shot play in Rivian when here's somebody trying to break up a duopoly that has a great-looking chart, and you could put it into a good-looking stock like that? So that's my next decision. I have to do some. I don't know that much about them.
No, it's because Rivian is crushing if we've gone long Rivian, it's crushing our account, and we don't want to sell at the bottom.
Yeah, well, it's not crushing my account.
No, I just mean.
No, but I know what you're right. It's
stock.
It's it's easier to be like, oh, I'm going to take a shot play on a stock that's down that you can see where it's going. That's easier for us, like psychologically, than to look at a stock like an Embraer, which is actually good valuation, has some great things going in the pipeline, but you're literally buying it at the highs.
Yeah.
And you're learning about it for the first time. And that's just a psychological block for me, because every time I complain about Boeing, I'm like, maybe I should own this thing instead, or at least own a little bit of both. But it's 349. Usually at this time I would tighten up my stop, but it's not like my stop's right here, like 181.15 on Boeing, so I don't have to tighten it up. It's basically right here. But Tesla, I will tighten it up. And I'm not going to reload it, as a matter of fact. I'm going to tighten it up. Well, actually 172 even. I had it at 172 change. I'm just going to throw 172 even because imbalances are coming out any second now. So we'll see what happens with Boeing. GameStop did, in fact, break 18. So it is gone on GameStop. Congratulations to everybody. Red Eye Jedi Airbus is far superior to Boeing. Well, yeah, right now, that's easy to say. But remember, for years and years and years, regardless of how they were both doing, Boeing would just trade at a premium. That's why everyone likes to invest in it. Because if they were even, Boeing would trade better. And if Boeing was a little bit worse performance-wise, Boeing would trade just as well. And now, clearly, things are a little bit different from that, if you hadn't noticed.
All right, 49.
All right.
I mean, if we just think about the trades that we've had so far here this afternoon. Okay, I'll just speak for myself because there's only 30 seconds left. This Nvidia short. All right, this AMD short, you could see that's, obviously we've talked about that. Boeing, who the heck knows? And then right now, Amazon, short. So Amazon long, Amazon short, now it's printing. We just put this on. We talked about flipping it over to the other side, and that's exactly what we did. And there it goes. So Amazon right now, a 40-cent winner, and we just take some more out at 41 as it continues to go. And now the imbalances are out, and I can see that Amazon must be an upside. So we'll punch out a little bit there and then go over and have a quick look.
No, Intel's the big one, 1 million, and it's not even big.
Yeah, sometimes these will pair off.
Marvell 800,000.
Yeah.
They haven't reported yet, or I don't think so.
Short.
Where is Palantir, 500,000. I'm not seeing anything. None of the big names. Micron, no one cares about that. Short. Roblox, 400,000 to the buy side, but nothing big. I haven't really seen any of those NASDAQs. Qualcomm's there for 700,000. No Apple, no Microsoft, no Amazon, no Google, no Tesla, no Nvidia on the imbalance locator. TLT's there, but it's there every single day. Visa's there, but it's there every single day, and those have never meant anything, at least as long as I've been watching these imbalances. We'll see what happens with it. I don't know if we have the earnings board, but I can tell you, the overall number, 1.1 billion to the buy side. So despite anything significant individually, it's a 1 billion buy. I'll just punch out a Tesla where it is right now. Why am I even waiting around a couple of cents more? It doesn't really matter. Boeing I'll hang on to, but there we go. There's the earnings board.
Oh, good.
So look, there's not a lot of big names. Actually, Akamai is bigger than the ones we're probably interested in terms of market cap. But after the market, we're going to have Unity. That's more of a squeeze play than anything else. Dropbox, that has the chance to move as well. JFrog every now and then is going to do a little something. So there are a few names that we should be interested in. Well, I don't see Mara on there, but Mara's after the bell tonight. Oh, there it is. Man, what am I talking about? It's right there, Marathon Digital. So Mara, definitely going to be a big one. Added to the S&P 600. So there's some juice to that with a decent short float as well. Tomorrow morning, that is AMC Networks tomorrow morning.
Yeah, not
AMC has already reported. Enbridge, I'm invested in them, but I probably don't care that much about the earnings. It'll be probably pretty boring. Honda, who cares about Honda?
Very boring.
Yeah, tomorrow morning I really feel like Novavax is like a maybe because that's run before. But the big ones are aftermarket tonight. Unity, that's the one that has the volatility for you. Expected move is like 11% on Unity. The other ones are all it's like 8% on Mara and 8% on Dropbox. But Unity's the one expected double digits.
The hell's going on over there, Ramin? All right.
There's a lot of laughing and joking.
All right. So what was that eventual number there that we get from Madeira?
1.1.
One B to buy. Okay. Well, we don't want to throw money away here at the end of the day, so we're not going to do that. Boeing, we're still waiting to get filled. Hopefully it will fly in to the downside and we'll get that fill right there. I do have some more bids on, of course, for Amazon. Hopefully this will fall back in. We do have to absorb that bid a little bit there, so we'll see if it can fall in right now for Amazon. Good trading. I mean, my best out there is 38s. Here we go. We're still bidding 62s and 50s. No, we already got that 62. Okay, we got to regroup now and start to get out of everything. All right, cancel. We still have AMD. I'm just going to punch out of that one for AMD. We actually got out already of AMD right here. And so we'll take the last bid out there. We are now out of AMD. And here we come right back in again for Amazon. I mean, we've done it again. Thank you so much again for watching today. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe. Make sure that you follow my good friend Bears vs. Bulls. Get over there to the Freedom and Wealth podcast right now. Go find that 210 subscribers. Let me refresh that bad boy. 212. Can we hear 212, 210? All right, go hit the like and the subscribe on that stat. Yeah, again. Oh, and by the way, thank you so much for asking in the chat there if I was green on the day. No, I am not. I am red on the day, and which is fine. Honestly, again, we talked about this. Confidence is huge. I am all we did was had too many shares too early on Amazon, and we broke our own rules. So for me, perfect. That's kind of stuff I'm talking about. So Are you? Do you want to say something before you go, or I don't know if you're just setting up?
Well, I just punched out manually. There's a couple of things I wanted to get to. I had some notes I wanted to make sure I carried with me, but
Yep.
I just punched out a Boeing. It's like, why let it get to the stop level? I'm gonna get up there and get set up for the aftermarket show. Like Sean said, remember, and this is important. If you were already subscribed to the old podcast, you've got to go to the Freedom Wealth page and make sure you subscribe now if you want to get the notifications. It's completely new. So, a lot of people, you get in that habit. It's like, you just change the name, I'm still going to get it. No, that's not the case. You do actually have to make the change yourself. So it's it's 355, probably going to have some flips on the imbalances, but remember, there was nothing significant in the first place. I'm going to get on over to the desk. I'll be there with Adair. We've got Danielle Shay coming through, Upstart earnings. I'll see you in a few at the desk. Good luck going into the close. Hopefully we get some tankage, although I kind of want Amazon to close at a 52-week high. Or an all-time high. I wanted to close that all-time high, but it is what it is. It's just because I own it.
Yeah, it won't do that. But all right, we do have right now, we have a 40-cent winner on board right here. So, I mean, again, just thank you so much for watching the afternoon. Sometimes the afternoons are a little bit rough. Well, not really. We've done really good in the afternoons lately. We've made mistakes early, and it's just by not following our rules. So I just want to say thank you so much to everybody. There we go. Everybody's loving all of this. So let's go. Go Avalanche. Sure, man. I think that's a lot of great series right now in the NHL. Carolina and the Rangers is a good one as well. And then, of course, we've got Dallas. We've got Vancouver, Dallas and Colorado. Then we've got Vancouver and Edmonton. I mean, it's going to be quite the end to the season. And then, of course, in the NBA, that never stops. Drama over there. I mean, everyone's thinking about who's the next one, and is or is that not Mr. Anthony Edwards over there in Minnesota. So, okay, guys, by the way, this is going to look ridiculous because we have so many outs. I understand that. But, I mean, this is now we're going down to the bottom of the day, and we still have shares on. Our net might not, reflect how I think I'm trading, but I hope you guys can see what's been happening here. So Nvidia as well, some well-traded names there. Let's look out for earnings tonight, as we've already talked about that. The big one, of course, we're going to have Mara coming through. We did see Clean Spark in that the other day. We could talk about Mara, but the thing about this is, I've already told you, I mean, we had, again, on our old podcast, I had talked about this $14, $15 level numerous times on Mara. So I've really liked that. If this dips down into that support after hours, we like ye a lot. And thank you, Amazon. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Nikola Jokic. I thought there's been 9 times, 3-time NBA MVP. No, he's not the second player in history to do that. No, LeBron's done that. Michael's done that. Wilt's probably done that. 3-time MVPs in the NBA. I feel that's what I was saying. There's at least 3 that I can think of. I would think of 4 with the Joker. So I'll double check. Could be wrong. Okay, here comes Amazon right down into the downside right now. Bang! Yeah, lots of bangs happening here today, guys. I just hope you enjoy. The recap show today will be with Save. I'm trying to find that for you. Where is Save? Save is gone. Oh, Save there. Spirit Airlines. 380, 385 show to Dan McIsaac. But yeah, so far so good here, guys. Boeing looks like it wants to do nothing, so we'll probably just take that out. 50 cents in the money here to close the day on Amazon. We did it again for you right there. Shout out to Sebastian. You are my MVP as well, my friend. I don't want the podcast to be too successful because then we'll just only be doing podcasting, but I promise you, we'll stay here. We'll stay here and continue to trade. Wow, Amazon. You're putting a smile on this guy's, whoa. Put a smile on this guy's face. I didn't realize I just covered down there because we did get that fill. We just got that fill at 25. I almost put out more to get filled. We got it, and we got it good. In case you understood, we're going to be back tomorrow. Whoa. Okay. We'll be back tomorrow morning for you at 8:30 live with more hopeful bangers. And if not, we'll at least have some ideas. Make sure you do check out the sticky note and sign up for the watch list.tradertv.live, which gets pumped out every single day. Make sure you definitely check that out. That's, hey, That's where I get my stuff from. Although today we had Tesla, Amazon, AMD, Shopify, and Affirm. And you know where we put on Affirm? We put Affirm on at $33 as it was written. It's at $35 damn right now. We've got it right, guys. But we got punched out when we broke. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right, not too much time left. I got to just punch out of this Boeing because otherwise I will be in trouble. We are out of a little bit of Boeing right there, just basically for flat. No skin off there. We are getting ready for the countdown, so let's hit it right now. It's Adara. She's over there at the big desk. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a fan-damn-tastic day with only 3 seconds left. 2 and 1. All right. Again, thank you so much. Thank you for the respect there on the trading here today. It means a lot to me, and it's not going to change. Let's go Jets in High Park. And if they're ready over there, are they ready? Neil's there. All right, well, all right, we'll keep holding it here as no one's speaking. So let me know when you're ready. It's the recap show. See ya. I'm out of here. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Market recap show. Thank you there, Sean. And that's right. Sean's at the desk, and he's here with the tan as well. But thank you, Adara, for setting some things up. You know, we're live trading, getting right into things. We're going to do a little bit of a recap like always. We got Danielle Shay coming through. There are some earnings expected. They're not massive names. Unity is expected after the bell drop box, but Mara typically a little bit later. So Mara might not report till about 4:30. You know, we'll try to stick around and see if we get those numbers. Big short float, double digits expected for only Unity, I think 11% into the downside. So I want to just quickly get the lay of the land because obviously Flavius Mara was like 8.7%. We'll get to that one if they do happen to report. But if you look overall, like the market, we always try to give you that overview of what each individual index is doing on ETF Watch here. And look, GDX, power moves, UNG up strong. You see XLE in there. So most of the strength, it's not like it was over in our tech names, and you had some strength in financials, but it was really a big banger out there for the really super volatile and not heavily day traded names. Like, good luck if you're trading the Widowmaker over there in natural gas. Big shout out. We already talked about this. We had a little bit of a win there. Not a lot of follow through on CGC, but it got back above the $10 level. MSOS doing some big things. FXI looking great. But there you see it. SMH down today. ARC, obviously adjacent to that, going to be down. It was not a great day for tech. And you saw that right at the end of the day. Even Amazon, which just made and was holding an all-time high, ends up reversing it at the end of the day. I always find it interesting or nice when you can close above that all-time high. It's a great psychological thing because technically it's not a failed break there, Adara. But speaking of recap there, I know obviously today was one of those days where you had to be in the right name. There was no consistency in terms of where the strength was going to be, where the weakness is going to be. It was a little bit of everything, especially in the tech space. How was your day trying to navigate it?
I will admit, and I said this multiple times on the show, on the How to Trade in the midday, this was my worst trading day of the day by a decent margin, and a lot of it was just due to me continuing to try to make some trades in Celsius. I like the levels, and initially the trades were okay. I saw levels I like, but I got back in, kind of panicked, didn't get out as quickly as I should have. I didn't get shut down or anything. I was able to manage risk okay-ish, but I'm just, I definitely needed to stop beating a dead horse at a certain point. I think that was the biggest issue there. I had some okay trades. I had Roblox, ended up doing okay with Starbucks. Quick 10 penny range. If you were just able to take it with enough shares and scalp it, that was okay. But it was certainly, I think for me, a bit of a harder trade or harder day to trade unless, I had a couple small trades, Cheesecake Factory, some of these earnings plays, but struggled a little bit today.
So I'm going to give you, so first off, you didn't get shut down. That's great.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, I had a rough day today. There was actually a point today. So this morning, the morning show lost essentially what I was up yesterday, which I'm like, that's fine. I adhere to all my rules, and that's usually going to be the case. Did you have an outsized loss type of day? You don't want to have the strategies that you train on a day-to-day basis. You don't want to be taking hits on them that are bigger, than what you're averagely going to be able to make. But that's the important thing. That said, there was a point during lunchtime where I'm battling back. I got to maybe like 1/3 of what I was down in the morning. And then from there, just sort of lost it all right back. And it happens to you. And really, most of it wasn't about the losses. It was about not maximizing the winners and trading them inefficiently because I was getting a little too much. I said this about GME. You know, like I was getting way too cute with GME and AMC. Like I'd have the win and I'd hold for this monster move and then just let it get right back. Why? Because I was down. I'm like, if it goes, I'm going to get it all back on this one trade. And you can't really do that. So I love the fact that you were disciplined, didn't have the blowout losses. That's more important. But just, we'll get to some earnings. Remember, there's not a heck of a lot that we're expecting to report and let you guys know. But speaking of the Roblox, speaking about Roblox here, actually, no, we have it on there. Well, forget about it. We can get to Roblox later. I didn't realize we were going to do this after Danielle Shay because I know you put this together for us. So we can get to that a little bit later here on Roblox. But Blink looks like it's out. Thank you very much, Darwin. Not a gigantic one, Blink charging. That said, a move is going to be a move. They did beat, but sales beat as well, beat on the top and bottom. The issue with a stock like this is it's not that exciting if it's not going 10, 15%. So it's a $3 stock. The reason we're interested in Mara and Unity is those are day trades that we can get excited about. Whereas like I'm looking at Blink right here. It did break higher, and thank you, Darwin, for putting it in there in the chat. But it's still very much inside of the range and not a lot of volume going through in here on Blink. And it's not to say that we want to ignore any kind of a name. Yeah. But as a trader, you have like on the good list and the bad list, volume, volatility-wise. Don't mind trading this one, but like to me, it's $3 stock. Got to be pushing 320, 330. Need that up 10%, up that 15% for sure. And don't get me wrong, it's got a good short float. But what do you need plus the short float? 22% short float? Well, let's pop it up on the daily. Let's go over it. Why not? We'll just do this live because that's what we do and not a heck of a lot's happening. If you're going to scare shorts, then what do you got? You got to break something out, right? So there's 325. I happen to have looked at Blink this week. That's why I kind of knew that.
I was going to say, yeah.
Okay, so I know sometimes I'll start talking to a chart, and it's like, well, you didn't even look at that chart. Why do you already know it's not breaking at a key level? So I'm in early in the mornings. I just go over charts, and I kind of remember some of this stuff. So I did actually see Blink because they reported this week, and it might have been yesterday that I looked at it at pre-market. And I was like, I know it's got to break the 330 and the 350 levels because you look at it one time and you remember something like that. But for something to be a short squeeze, it needs to have something happen that scares the shorts. Breaking 330, getting above like a 50 or 200 period moving average, breaking 350. If we look at the chart here for a second, I don't know if the chart, there we go. Breaking 350 up here, then you can start to get that squeeze. That's going to be much more important. So maybe Mara doesn't want to wait. Some people are saying Mara is already out. I mean, it's kind of going up, kind of going up, kind of going up. It's starting to go 20, 30. I don't know if we have the numbers. I know you've got it. We'll wait patiently for you. But Mara looks like it is out. Thank you for reporting earlier than expected, Mara. Back above 20. Hold the 20 level because that's what I want for the long tomorrow. It's into the 2050s, but this is on a 3-minute chart. You have not really broken out of today's range. They've got the 20% short float. They just got added to the S&P 600, so they got some juice behind it, but it's got to break out the highs. If you stay inside of the range and you don't go past the expected, which was like 8.5% or 8.7% expected move, then you haven't done much. So we have had some movement on Mara here, but it's not really blowing it out of the water for me just yet. Do we have the numbers?
Yeah, we do, and the EPS beat is, in a word, wild. So we got $1.30 per share versus 22 cents expected. So to put that net profit terms for Q1 2024, net income was $337.1 million versus the estimated $53.1 million. That is a massive beat. They did miss on revenue though, however, $165.19 million versus the estimate of $180.7 million. So that is a little bit of a miss there for revenue. But I mean, that EPS number is so great. We'll have to see if people pay attention.
Yeah, one thing to always watch for the EPS is like sometimes when it's like really big, the next day they're like, we're not sure if that's actually comparable to the estimate. And so you'll see a lot of that, and then you don't get the reaction you want. But no breakout of the high on Mara. They're actually right back down into 1990. Shout out to you, Bears versus Bulls. Thank you for posting that. If you want to listen to the Mara earnings call, I kind of have the feeling that and Unity are the ones that most traders are going to be interested in for tomorrow. But no break of the high there on Mara, unfortunately. It's just a lot more exciting if it breaks at 2050. I do see SOUN is moving. It just broke the lows. That's now down 3%. So there might be out there SOUN. Again, another 20% short float name. Looks like they must be out and are headed to the downside pretty nastily here for Soundhound. Yeah, they're starting to flunk. SOUN to the downside. 20% short float would have been nicer if it went to the upside. We know CleanSpark is also going to be moving based on Mara. They already had theirs, but not a heck of a lot happening with CleanSpark because I checked that one out. Kind of feels like Mara, if you're not breaking out the top on a big EPS beat, that's not really a good thing.
No.
Yeah, and they're not really anxiously buying this one. It's already back testing some of these lows here on Mara. Needs to hold on to 1950. Bit of a gap fill underneath 1950. We are going to have Ms. Danielle Shay is going to be on.
Yes.
And as usual, there's like a wealth of things we can talk about with Danielle. I tend to get selfish because she always has fantastic opinions on what's coming up in earnings or how you want to react to earnings, especially when it comes to big tech. I think Tesla's kind of an important topic.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Microsoft for a lot of people is going to be a big one. We're going to have her on just in a couple of seconds there. But it looks like Mara, yeah, that's a nothing burger. That's a pretty hefty beat to not blow at the top.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned by that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that the revenue miss has overwhelmed, or I guess because the revenue was so underwhelming, the EPS beat didn't matter as much. One thing I will say as well, though, too, we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum on the market recap, but sometimes it takes one aspect of the earnings report that people will react positively or negatively to, and at times it is going to be, that revenue miss overwhelming the fact that we did have a really good EPS beat. Also, I have not seen Soundhound yet. Oh, I just saw Soundhound. Never mind. As I say that, we get Soundhound.
You probably want to check JFrog because that is ribbit tanking right now. Ribbit. There was actually a rapper back in the day. His name was Froggy Frog, and I was actually he did songs with Nine, who was also part of like Redman's crew.
Okay, that's why I've heard that.
Froggy Frog. I have no idea what he's doing right now, but hopefully he doesn't own shares of JFrog because if you do, you've just been smoked. And this is why we say trading in the aftermarket is a dangerous game. The initial move was a breakout that went 10%. If you chase said move, you are now out of the money, double that, because it went upside and now you flunked through down to 36, looking pretty nasty there. We're still waiting on Unity. Unity's the only one that has yet to report, but I do believe we've got Danielle Shay ready to go. I do not want to make her wait any longer. Let's get right onto it. We've got Trader Talk. Miss Shay. There she is. Happy to see you. Love the sweater. Before we move on, what does that say? I'm curious.
Oh, thank you. It says, when life gives you lemons, trade options.
Okay. Oh, that's obvious trader humor.
That's awesome.
And
yeah.
I love it. And I'm not even an options trader. You know that. I'm just sort of like learning from you vicariously every single time we have you on here. But when life gives you lemons, who needs lemonade? That cool.
Thank you. I made it myself.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I'm making an Etsy store. It's coming soon.
So then when I say that line a few times on the show, then I get a free sweater, right?
Exactly. I'll send you whatever you want.
Not to put you on the spot, but we appreciate it. I think it's hilarious, and I'll say it every time. So speaking of options, earnings season is usually pretty big. Now, we don't have a lot of, there weren't a lot of huge names tonight. Unity hasn't come out yet. We just saw Mara kind of disappoint. JFrog's getting absolutely smoked. But we have had some big ones this week. And Roblox, I mean, we're going to talk about Roblox because I know Adara was trading it. But Roblox got absolutely smashed and then had a huge recovery. You had Shopify that got absolutely smashed. We're talking about moves that are, you always talk about like a little bit past the expected. Well, these are like double past the expected. That situation, is there a special case for when something is double the expected or approaching triple? Do you have an approach for that? And is there anything that stood out to you outside of those ridiculous moves we had?
Oh, definitely. So when you look at the options market, I mean, options are priced based off of the expected move. And so, you basically have two different setups you can do. You could either look at a ticker and you could say, hey, you know what? I'm going to bet on this staying within the expected move. And you can try to sell premium. That's actually what I did with Mara. So hopefully that move's actually looking good for me right now. Hopefully it stays that way. Or if there's twice the expected move, that's when you can really come in and you can trade it after the earnings report. So I think that that's perfect for day traders like you and your crowd. You just want to go into that earnings report. And even if you're not an options trader, you can look at the options chain in your platform and you can see what it was before the report. And if you can see that stock down twice the expected move, that tells you that there's a high level of volatility. And typically with those tickers, they're going to keep going. Sometimes what you'll find is that they'll find a support zone and you'll see a break higher the next day and you can actually trade it back to the gap level. But either way, it's going to depend on how it actually opens the next day. And if you get a breakout to the upside or the downside based on the 15-minute range.
Yeah, I feel like it feels like Roblox was just like it was so far down that it's almost like it had to catch a bid. Like it went to a level on the daily chart that was just so absurd. Like there almost had to be buyers down there because it's such an well, anybody that has kids, it's like an exciting company because everybody's kids uses it. So you're like, wow, well my kid's all over it. Why wouldn't I buy the stock? But Mara, I want to get to because you mentioned you put a trade on in Mara. So just if you can briefly walk us through that one. I feel like with a 20% short float, the expected volatility on Mara was almost 9%. At least that's, yeah. And then last time its move was actually bigger than this, based on the numbers I see here. But so Mara, it's trading at the low end of the range now. It tried to break out the top, big EPS beat, and then revenue wasn't. So maybe it's kind of mixed, but it's trying to take out the bottom on Mara. What is your play here specifically?
So with Mara is a really high implied volatility stock. And so if you check out your options chain, you can see right here that the implied volatility is 239%, which, I mean, that's pretty high. If you're not sure if it's high or not, you just want to go out another month and compare the implied volatility. So for example, right now, 239%. In a month, it's 110%. So what that means is that those options are extremely juiced up. And, while it's possible it could have a massive short squeeze and you could make money buying the options, it's just not very likely. So typically with these kinds of tickers, what I do is I look at how much it historically moves, okay? And so with this tool, I can see the previous gaps that we've had over earnings. And in this case, with about a 9% expected move, I can see that over the course of the last 12 quarters, there's been a quarter all the way back here where it moved 15%. And then 2 quarters ago, it moved 13%. There was this one quarter right here where it moved 10%. But for the most part, the move is not anywhere near that big. And so on this ticker, because especially it's right between support and resistance, I just came in and I just sold an at the money iron condor. I have a couple different examples of this kind of trade on my YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, I just did one in Visa and I just did one in Hershey's as well. But basically what I did was I just sold the at the money calls and the at the money puts. I just bought some outer wings for protection. And I got a credit of $1.25. So basically what I need to see with the stock is I want to see the stock, it could go up, it could go down, but I'd like to see it move less than about $1.50. And then in that situation, if that happens perfectly, then these options that I sold for, basically $1 on each side, maybe tomorrow they're worth 50 cents. So I sell the premium and then the next day I try to buy it back for less. And then ideally that's how I make money. Now, if it moves like 20%, I'm going to lose money and I'll be wrong.
Well, there you go, and I appreciate that. And for anybody, if you're an absolute novice trading options, A, you can always replay that. B, it's at Trader Danielle on YouTube, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can always check that channel out, and there are introductory and some beginner videos as well if you're trying to just learn and don't want to be putting on obviously live trades just yet. We appreciate you walking us through that. So okay, so you got to play on in Mara, but okay, we just had most of the big cap tech earnings. We have to wait on Nvidia here. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Tesla losing the 50 period on the daily today, the nice little bounce that it got. Looks like it's been abating, so we're back to the downward trend. I know you're a Tesla lover. Microsoft as well, losing the 50 period as well. I know you've talked about this. I know these are bullish. Well, I mean, Microsoft's been a bullish stock. And I know there's been a nice little bounce in some of these names, but starting to show some signs of weakness after their reports. What are your thoughts on those two specifically? Because I feel like I always want to ask you about Tesla and Softy.
Of course. So, I mean, these two right here are absolutely critical. If you look at the NASDAQ, the one piece of hope that I have that the market can keep going higher here is the fact that the NASDAQ is up above the 50 simple, right? So you've got the NASDAQ up above the 50 simple. It's stayed there for 3 days. So we're, clinging and holding on. But as you point out, when you have some of these heavy hitters that they're not up above the 50 simple, and that means that they're below that critical area of resistance. So basically, right now you have Microsoft and you also have Tesla that are giving us a little bit of a warning sign in the market, because while you have a couple of these others, Apple did surprisingly well after earnings and is holding up really well. And you have Amazon, of course, that made the new high today, along with Google. The NASDAQ can keep going higher with some of these others, but it would be a lot better and a lot more helpful if Microsoft and Tesla were involved. And right now they're not. So if they can't get back above that 50 simple, those stocks are going to struggle, and we're probably going to be able to trade them to the downside.
Yeah, it's interesting the way you frame that. The way I've sort of thought about some of these is like when the stars start aligning again, then it's going to be much more clear either back to the upside or that we're headed down. And what I mean by that is when this group starts acting a little bit more like a group. You don't get Amazon breaking highs by itself and then still have, Nvidia. I mean, Apple's going up too as well, but then still have weakness over in Microsoft. They start aligning like they were before, I think we can go. The problem is that works in both ways, I think, for a lot of people. And just for everyone out there, I just want to mention, Unity did come out, and they are going lower, but it's looks like an inside move for them because they're only down like 0.5%, which I find, and you can tell me if you feel the same way, but when a stock that it's like a 10% short float, you really only care about this thing when it starts moving, I just don't even get remotely excited if this is up or down 5% after earnings. And I find myself sitting out unless it makes some kind of a move into a big level. Trading tomorrow, I'm not excited at all about Unity if it just stayed within the range and didn't come anywhere near expectations. Do you even care when something like a Unity doesn't give you enough juice, I suppose? Like Mara is more exciting?
Definitely not, because especially when you look at Unity, the thing about it is it's in a downtrend. So in order for me to be excited about a short squeeze, it has to be an actual shift in trend higher. So with this chart, maybe above 25, you'd get a little bit. 27 would be better. Up above 28.5 would be best to see an actual short squeeze. And so, as you pointed out, you're trading at 24 right now, and the expected move is $22.86. So you would really need to see at least an expected move, ideally twice the expected move, for me to get excited about a short squeeze in this name. The kind of tickers that I look at for short squeezes are going to be something like this. This is one that I was trading today because somebody in our trading room pointed it out. I've never traded this stock before, never even looked at the name. And somebody asked me about it yesterday and said, hey, this one has high short float and you're going into earnings. Is this something we can buy? And this is actually like a perfect example of the pattern that I look for. You want to see something where you've shifted into a nice upward trend. Last quarter, you had a big breakaway gap that never came back to fill. you're going into earnings right near a previous high. You have a bunch of consolidation, and then the expected move was within range of making a new high. So when I see short squeeze, a potential short squeeze with high short interest with this pattern, that's exactly what I want. Unity's like, maybe could trade it, but probably not.
Yeah, I was looking at, like, if I look at the chart and I was short the stock, would I even be thinking about it or caring about it? And the answer with Unity is no. And when you look at that chart of AppLovin, I mean, pardon my French, but you'd be crapping your pants if you're short that stock. Let's be real for a second. Like, unless somehow magically you've got whatever, it's at fresh highs. No, there's actually no price that you could have unless you literally shorted it at the top today, which good for you if you did. But I think you're absolutely right about that. No matter what kind of a trader you are, whether you're trading options, whether you're a day trader, whether you're a swing trader, you need there to be some kind of a catalyst. And we say this time and time again. It's one thing to look at levels on a chart or have an idea or for a number to be there, like a 13% or 20% short float. It doesn't matter if there isn't actually a reason for other people to act. And that's what you want to have in there. So thank you so much for that, Danielle. And actually, I appreciate you bringing up AppLovin. I'm glad your community found this one, because that kind of a level is exactly where you could see some continuation on a squeeze. So we should all be looking at this potentially for some follow through tomorrow and maybe in the next coming days and weeks. Is there anything else you want to leave us with, something you're looking forward to? I know we haven't even had Nvidia yet in earnings season, so there's still a heck of a lot to get to. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
Nvidia was the one that I was going to bring up, and that's because, we talked about the other mega cap tech names, but Nvidia is the most important right here, and Nvidia has earnings coming up on the 22nd. I think that a lot of this rally and the continuation of this rally is going to depend on Nvidia. Right now, chart pattern looks great. We've been rallying into earnings. We're holding up above the 50 simple. But they have got to perform on this earnings report, because SMH staying up above the 50 simple is going to depend on these results. And, while I love Nvidia, the stock's been great, I am cautioning my traders, because here's the thing. We've seen a lot of companies this quarter come out and have great EPS numbers and great revenue numbers and even strong guidance, and they've still gotten hammered just because the expectations are so high. So while I like Nvidia, it's one of my top stocks in my portfolio, and of course I trade it all the time, I am a little bit concerned about this report just because expectations are so high.
As I log in and sell all my Nvidia shares, I wouldn't do that. Or would I? No, I'm joking around. But you made one really good point there. I remember reading we have to read almost every single report just to be familiar with even things that we might not trade when we're doing a live show. It's a responsibility to the viewers, in my opinion. But I was going through some of the Roblox. I'm like, okay, good, kind of bad, good, kind of bad. It's like, when we're down, what? And it was the same thing with ARM. It's like good, bad, good. And it was down like 8% at one point. It's like, okay, well, if Nvidia misses even like by like a smidgen, if they have like a hair out of place, then they're going to be in trouble. It makes a lot of sense to me. So thank you for ending on exactly what I think everyone wanted to hear, which is what's going on with Nvidia. It's the last massive shoe to drop. As always, fantastic guests. They can check you out at Trader Danielle on your YouTube page if you want to learn about options and eventually get some nice sweaters.
That's right. Thank you for having me. I always love joining you.
Appreciate it. Take care, Danielle. And we'll talk. We'll have you back on next week. Look forward to it. And it's going to be exciting when Nvidia comes out, hopefully to the upside, as we all want.
Thank you.
But you never know. And that's sort of the thing. Like today, I would have told you, Adara, my thought would have been, Mara, it's just everything was set up for this. And that EPS beat, I still feel like maybe there's something about that EPS number that we have to check on. Because Mara, despite that massive beat, it actually tagged underneath 19. Got all the way down in here to like 18.5, continuing to flush down in. So despite being out of the SP 600, despite there actually being a top line beat, they're still getting absolutely smoked. SOUN was the other big one. Just going over some of these. SOUN actually bounced pretty nicely and recovered. So a bit of an inside move for them, not really holding underneath those lows. Unity Software, as we mentioned, still trading lower, but very much inside. 5% up, then 5% down. If it hangs out here, I think you got a bit of a nothing burger. The shorts are not even remotely scared by that move. It never broke high enough to scare people. It's not really flushing low enough that a lot has changed in here. So at the end of the day, it's all about waiting and getting those fantastic opportunities and the best opportunities. And I've said this before, just because there's earnings or just because there is a good catalyst that morning or a shiny new thing, do not forget what worked the day before. I made that mistake big time, and I did this in the lesson of the day, and I'm only waxing poetic on this because there was a point in the morning show, and you could rewind it back. I was looking for 2 separate dip buys. One was in Robinhood, who reported today and had a lot of expected volume. The volume was obviously through the roof. I could have dip bought that off 18 or Palantir off 21. Palantir was the post-earnings play, maybe not as exciting, a couple days past earnings, but it had bounced off 21 and already worked the day before. Robinhood, I was kind of looking at that level saying, hey, is it going to work? It's a good setup, but just go to the one that worked the day before. And it was a huge difference. Like I think it went 15 cents on Robinhood, and then I think I lost like 12 cents on the way back in. So it was a flat trade on that long. But Palantir held to 21. Next thing you know, it was at like 21.60, 21.70. It was easily a 3 to 4x risk to reward move, and that's just stock picking. Yeah. And I could have picked the easier one, the one that worked before. That's why we go over these things, everybody, so that everybody can get better. Every day is a good learning experience for all of us. Just very quickly, I just heard Fabian's like, damn right. That's what it's all about here. It's already 4:30.
How?
How does this happen?
Time flies.
Why you always? It feel like we had such a fantastic guest, and we already talked about Roblox in there, and that's going to be a good one. Do not sleep on that. That's also going to be a day 2 play tomorrow. Caught a heck of a bid, but I want to make sure we get this roll call in for everybody. We got to do a roll call. Come on, son. Let's be real about it for a second. So get it in there. And I'm going to do, whenever I fill in for Sean, I'm going to always start with Bears versus Bulls. The best moderator in the absolute business, all day, every day. He starts the day off by saying, good morning to the Breakfast Club. And he's always asking, like, how was your night last night? I hope you had fun with the kids. He somehow remembers every single thing that Sean or I have ever said we're going to be doing with the kids. I think it's absolutely amazing. And it's very supportive of all the trades, doing a great job in there. Mr. Westermeyer, I see you in there. Danielle Shay in the chat, thank you for being an amazing guest, like you always are. I'm still going to want that sweater. Thank you very much. Shout out to T. Lee, Tesla cracking lower. That sucks for everybody because most of us own it. Martina, shout out to you. Mina, letting us know the SoundHound is still bad because we already saw it. Sebastian, Aldrich, B-Bot in there, the boring man. Anthony Kerr, you're in the house. I'm here too, but you are more important. You guys are the viewers. Havana Woody, what up? Talk to you today. Thank you for all the positive comments. Why not? Yeah, why not check us out every single day, and why not check out the podcast as well, which is on a new channel, Freedom and Wealth. Alan, shout out to you. Maria, Darwin, Francis, Asta, T. Lee, Ron Miller, Michelle Meir, 4L Taz, Yoel, S. Samuel, Poco Traveler, FFTB, Shane Dubb, Howell Capital Trading. Great show because you guys are the best and you deserve it. Aaron, Scott, Matthews. That just sounds like Aaron Scott Matthews. That's one of those names, like you probably president of your your student council.
Yeah.
And all, like Aaron
We're
Scott
in a boy
Matthews.
band, like it has
I had to
presence.
stop. I had to stop on that.
Yeah.
2 first names and then
3
Matthews.
first names, kind of.
3 first, yeah.
Well, Matthews.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Anyways, you just stopped my tracks in there, so you know you win on that one for sure. Aldrich, who else we got here? Anthony Kerr, J Muck, DJT, what have I? Silverado, Janik, Sher E. Punjab, and Chef Anthony, thank you very much as well. Paula Blackford, Silverado, DJ Marshall, they're flipping past fast now. Michael P, T Daddy, Force Builder X. Okay, I'm a little bit out of breath. So there you go. We appreciate you guys so much. Adara, thank you. I'm filling in for Sean. I mean, obviously, he does it on a regular basis. Just so everybody knows, Adara preps the topics, These are expected moves in case I don't know what it is. This is what's reporting. And she does all the watch list stuff in the morning, getting in first person in the building. It's not a single trader in the floor that even gets here before Adair. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Neil and I are always here within like 2 minutes of each other. We're always here nice and early. We're like, oh, that thing moved. So yeah, and thank you so much, Neil, as well for being here and killing it. And thank you, Danielle and Bears versus Bulls. I'm always just happy to be here. That's always my thing.
That's because trading is the best job in the world. Why? Because you eat what you kill, and the market's a little bit different every single day. It's the same rules, same game, but it's never the same thing twice. That's why we all love it. That's why I love you. We'll check us out tomorrow morning, 8:30. As always, wrap up an amazing trading week. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care, everybody.
That was a cool shot. It was like the end of the day.